Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
You're now in the Sports Web, a sports talk show for the hardcore fan. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web, powered by 320solar.com. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about on this losing Monday. Hope you guys are ready to talk Buccaneer football on tonight's show, even after a loss. It's only one game. Just remind yourself, just one game. We have the Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, Mr. Alkek. 40 years of sports broadcasting experience, WTSP Channel 10, WFTS Channel 28 on with us in a couple minutes. The birthday boy himself. Wish him a happy birthday because it was yesterday. But do not ask him how old he is because that's disrespectful. Speaking of an old guy, I'm not saying Al is. Leo Haggerty at 10 o'clock, the legend himself, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, will be on with us telling you or telling me, I told you so. Mr. Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats, Liam Mitchell from YouTube. I believe it is Fan to Fan Sports. So we'll have him on, and of course, we'll take your phone call, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. And of course, 320 Solar. Finally say goodbye to your electric bill. Go solar for zero out of pocket with 320 Solar. Their current promotion right now, ladies and gentlemen, is a sign for zero out of pocket solar on 320solar.com and have no payments until 2022. So there you go. And of course, the other sponsor is mycannabiscard.com. Like I said, with mycannabiscard.com, the nation's first and largest cannabis card doctor network and home of the guaranteed fast track cannabis card approval with over 2,500 state licensed doctors and 30 plus qualifying conditions. My Cannabis Card is by far the easiest and most cost-effective way to secure your cannabis card as stress-free as possible from the comforts of your own home. That's mycannabiscard.com. Tell them Peter Blake, the Bucs Report, and everybody else here at Sports Web sent you. So, without further ado, I want to hear from the webheads tonight. Call the 320solar.com phone line. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's go ahead and get the birthday boy on himself. Mr. Alkek, welcome to the Evolution after a disappointing loss, a start to the season by the Bucs, 34-23 versus the New Orleans Saints. How you doing tonight?
I'm well. It's interesting listening to so many of my just people that I've listened to and have talked to over the years, and to a man, they have the same opinion, and that is, haven't we seen this before? Isn't this just like the stuff we've had in recent years? So hopefully it ends this week, and next week things get back to where the Buccaneers were hoping to be. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, we were going back to last year. I was thinking about it because we were out at Ferg's doing the watch parties, which, by the way, there is no other Bucs platform that does watch parties. Listen to this. Let me clarify this for you. There's no other Bucs platform that streams to 4 different platforms at the same time and goes out to a local bar, gives fans the opportunity to get in front of the camera, say what they want to say, and be a part of the evolution of sports talk television. When you respond to the show, basically all you're doing is playing checkers while Bucs Report is playing chess. Now that I've got that off of my chest, let's go ahead and talk about last year. You have a turnover situation, and then you have the same thing happen this year with Tom Brady, 2 interceptions, and a careless play by Mike Edwards. I don't know what he's thinking on special teams. Really what it comes down to is, was the offense that bad yesterday? Not really, but they weren't that good, right? We were talking about the offensive line and Donovan Smith. Was the defense good? In some points they were, but still gave up big plays. And, of course, the special teams, the kicking situation with the block kick, and, of course, the fumble that we talked about. So it definitely reminds you of last year.
Yeah, there were so many. I mean, just special teams making those mistakes. You know what's interesting? If you take away the pick six, if you take away the block kick and the resulting field goal for New Orleans, that's a 12-point swing. Well, they lost by 11. So as frustrating as the Buccaneers played offensively, to think, it's not out of the, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's not out of the realm of possibility to take away and try to prevent a pick six and to try to block a little bit better up front on a field goal try. Those 2 plays against a team like the Saints, you can't make those kind of mistakes against a team like the Saints on the road, even in a building that's empty, and expect to come away with a win. All that being said, I don't know of a whole lot of people outside of Tampa Bay that really expected this football team to go in there and beat the Saints there in this very first game with no preseason for Tom Brady and no OTAs, and not to make excuses for those type of things, but that's just the way it is. And did I expect a better outcome? Yes, I expected more of what you saw in that opening drive, but Mike Evans was completely taken out of his game.
Yeah.
By Marshawn Lattimore. Completely. Donovan Smith, even Bruce Arians today said it was probably the worst game he's played as a Buccaneer. And, that's absolutely true. And he was just downright dangerous. And then some of those individual just kind of dumb plays as far as some penalties, 9 penalties overall. It's not surprising that with those mistakes, you can lose to a team in the National Football League, especially one of the best teams in the NFC. And is it the end of the world? No. From what I've checked and what I've heard, there are still 15 games remaining. So I guess the upside in this, no one really expected this team to really go in there and beat the Saints. If they had, it would have been a major upset. But now what you do is, we said before the game that this game was not going to establish what we thought of this team, but it was a good indication of what we might be able to expect and what this team can do. I think we saw that. I think we saw that Tom Brady can do some amazing things when given time. And when other people around him do their jobs, we just need to see more of that. I was not that disappointed with Brady, but the mistakes have to go. They just have to.
Yeah, they definitely have to go. And again, going back to Bruce Arians' comments, I was very disappointed in his play. I think every now and then he reverts back to some techniques. They're not very good, and he got beat. He had probably the easiest guy to block up there, and he did a poor job. It was one of his poorest games, and I expect for him to bounce back this week. And you have to bounce back because, again, you don't want to stare at 0-2. The offensive line is so important. You're going to have to protect Tom Brady because, again, it's not like a young quarterback. He's 43. So what you're worried about is him taking those unnecessary hits, any quarterback. But if he takes an unnecessary hit, you lose him for the season, knock on wood, or you lose him for an extended period of time. Then you have Blaine Gabbert and you have the greatness of Ryan Griffin. And both of those quarterbacks, to me, I'm just not having a lot of faith in, Al. So you have to shore up this offensive line. And I have to say this, I believe the rookie Tristan Wirfs played better than Donovan Smith, and that's not a good thing because that's a rookie outplaying somebody who's been in the league a lot longer than Wirfs.
And Bruce Arians agreed with you. He said outside of a penalty that Tristan Wirfs played very well against a guy that's a big-time pro. And really, outside of that penalty, he did everything he could have possibly done and played very impressively. So the Buccaneers spent a first-round draft pick to take care of the right side of that offensive line. They were hoping that was enough, but clearly it's the left side of the offensive line, specifically the left tackle, that did not play well yesterday. And the Buccaneers are going to have to find a way very quickly to improve that position and see if Donovan Smith can do anything that he can to be a much better professional when it comes to playing, because he didn't play well on opening day. He didn't look prepared. He looked totally out of his element, and it really hurt this football team.
It really did. I'll tell you what, why should we have all the fun here, Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, Mr. Al Keck? 40 years of sports broadcasting experience. Let's go out to the webheads here, read these comments because they are coming fast and furious tonight. Jimmy says, what the buck happened? Jay Allen says, fire, like it. Richard says, go Johnny. Go Peter, absolutely. You were awesome. Appreciate you. Jimmy says it's everything. Happy birthday, Al, says Richard. Hello, says Dree. I guess that's Dree. I don't know if that's Drew or Dree. Donovan Smith is trash, not worth $16 million a year. Has no heart and doesn't care. Got beat up by a fifth-string defensive end. The problem is when you sign him to that contract, who do you replace him with? And I think it comes down to if his play continues to suffer, the Bucs are seriously going to think about going with a Tristan Wirfs possibly next year at that left tackle spot because he has experience playing that spot in Iowa. Right, Al?
Well, he does, but I mean, I would, if it gets to that point, I would look for someone more experienced.
Right.
And put experience there on the left-hand side. We really knew that Donovan Smith wasn't playing as well as he's expected or rated as far as what other people think of what a left tackle should be in the National Football League. And Smith really didn't play that well last year or the year before. So, but they chose to give him a big contract. And so they're kind of stuck with that right now. And, good luck going out and trying to find an offensive lineman, especially a left tackle, and, right now, because everyone wants one of those. All I'm saying is this. What did the Redskins take for Trent Williams?
Yeah, it was
Wasn't it like a 3 and a 5 or a 2 and a 5?
Yeah, something like that. And you're exactly right. I mean, a lot of fans have spoken about that. We talked about that on the show where they should have made a trade for Trent Williams. But, at the end of the day, it comes down to money. And, I guess the Bucs didn't necessarily have it, although they made some things work. It just didn't necessarily make the trade and didn't want to give up the draft picks. But you're exactly right. We've talked about it for the last couple of years, and we've also kind of said, well, Brady gets rid of the ball quicker, then maybe that helps the offensive line out. But that's not how it's going to be. They're going to have to step up, especially a guy like Smith, who's making big-time money on that left side. If not, you could see the same type of deal where it doesn't matter what quarterback you have back there. They're going to turn over the ball when they're not getting the time to throw the ball.
Well, here's what we need to hope, that was a one-game mess. Mm-hmm. And hopefully he can improve to the point to where at least he plays at the level he played at last season, which was certainly not among the best left tackles in football, but someone adequate. And adequate, he was about as far away from adequate as you could be yesterday.
I agree. All right, so let's go out to the Webheads. Panthers not going to be an easy to beat. I mean, they gave the Raiders everything they wanted, but they have a young defense. It's going to be at home. There are no fans. But to me, you don't want to start out the season 0-2. So does that become a must win? As crazy as that sounds, because you don't want to get off to an 0-2 start because it's more difficult to make the playoffs. It's a must win game, right?
Well, I seem to remember a year when there was incredible expectations for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and a big new face, exciting face, was coming to town. And that first game, they played the Saints, and they lost to the Saints. And Correct. They went on to turn things around, ended up going to the playoffs, ended up winning the Super Bowl. So it's not the end of the world. I mean, San Francisco lost yesterday. How'd you like to be Philadelphia today?
Right.
To have that lead against Washington and to have a team like Washington just absolutely smack you around in the second half. There are a lot of teams out there. Well, there are 16 teams at the end of the day that lost on opening day. And all 16 of those teams certainly had higher hopes going into that game than what they have right now. And so it's not the end of the world. Every opening day, you're going to have winners, you're going to have losers. What do you learn from that? What do you gain from that? And now they got the Panthers. After that, they have the Broncos. Can they build on this and get things going?
Yeah, no, I agree. They really don't play a tough team, if you will, until the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I think Chicago, that was surprising, but they still have their quarterback problems, you would think. They still have a tough defense. But you're looking at the teams down the road. They don't have great quarterbacks. So this may be a break, and this may be a time where this team absolutely gets hot. And you're exactly right. That Super Bowl team with John Gruden, the first game, they lose to the Saints. And I believe there's a stat out there where the Patriots and Tom Brady lose the first game. They went on to win the Super Bowl. I think that's 3 times where they went on to lose the first game of the season. So let's go back out to the Webheads. All right. Dree says, Tommy is fine. Everyone, let's all just settle down. Richard says, Arians called out Smith today, about time. Taylor Allen says, hey, Peter, what's going on? Sloppy game, but I'm feeling great. How about you guys? I'm feeling fine. I mean, I think they got off to a brilliant start. I mean, you couldn't get off to a better start, and that's what Coach Arians was saying today. In fact, when he was asked about, Tom Brady, he basically said in so many words, you can't say we weren't in sync because we started out good, as you can start out going right down the field. Then we don't get any more chunk plays other than pass interference penalties. I think it's a great learning experience. It's just round 1 of a 16-round fight, and we'll learn from it. It's a situation where all that verbiage when you're under the gun is different, and now you're getting hit for the first time. It's all different. He's had it before. He knows how to bounce back. He knew that he didn't play well. It's not what he expects from himself, nor do we expect. I would anticipate him to have a little more grit, a little more determination this week. And that's Coach Arians on Tom Brady's play. So, a great start. The first pass of the game, 29-yard, perfect pass to Chris Godwin. Then who would expect the first touchdown in Brady's history would not be a passing one? It would actually be a 1-yard plunge at the goal line.
Well, I personally don't get me wrong. Tom Brady has certainly played better games. And I just think, Mike Evans was on another planet. Who knows where his head was? He was more concerned about fighting Marshawn Lattimore than playing wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Donovan Smith played easily his worst game as a Buccaneer. And then, you only you go out and you get Gronk. And how many times do you target him? 3 times.
Right.
And Arians today admitted that it was Evans that cut off the route on the interception, on the first interception. He should have just kept going right down the field where Tom ended up delivering the football. So that one is on Evans. The second one, here is my beef, okay? He's throwing the football to Justin Watson, okay? At that point in the ball game, at that point, when you're trying to make that comeback on the road at New Orleans against this defense, why are you trying to force a ball into Justin Watson? Why is Justin Watson on the football field? Okay, you've got some of the best weapons in the National Football League, and you're making a choice to go outside to Justin Watson? The guy's been hurt since he's been here, and I just don't see that as a choice, as a smart choice. Now, not just with Brady. Brady's going to put the ball with a guy that he believes is open, according to what the defense gives him.
Right.
But why was Watson even put out there? You've got all kinds of other weapons. And it was exactly a similar play to this against San Francisco in the opener a year ago when Jameis threw it out to the right sidelines and he was trying to hit Peyton Barber, a running back. And the San Francisco defensive back cut the route, intercepted, taking it in. So, everyone's going to get on Brady about making a bad throw there, and it was not a great throw. But when you watch the play, Justin Watson is not exactly a gazelle in trying to make this catch or coming up to meet the ball or making sure that if he doesn't get the ball, no one else gets the ball, and maybe tackling the guy right there and make a better effort on it. I'm not saying that he loafed on the play, but what I am saying is, why the hell was he on the field at that time? And if there's a complaint that I have with this offense, and I don't know if it's Bruce, I don't know if it's the offensive coordinator, I don't know who it is, but how many times did we see on crucial plays last year inside the 10, or you're driving for what may be that go-ahead touchdown or that tying touchdown when you got Dari on the field, the fourth running back, because supposedly he's got good hands. And what happens is Dari does something dumbass to screw up the play, like running into the butt of Brashard Perriman. It's those kind of decisions, personnel decisions, that you're putting these guys on the field. And Justin Watson, who's been hurt for 3 straight years, has no business being on the field at that point of the game.
I agree with you, and I definitely think you can make a case that it's also offensive, coordinator Byron Leftwich. Some of the plays that were called yesterday leave you shaking your head. You don't know why they were called, why they go conservative at points. They have opportunities. You have all these weapons that we talk about, and OJ Howard, who had a touchdown yesterday, but 4 catches, 36 yards. You talk about Gronk. Where was Cameron Brate yesterday? I mean, they didn't do enough. I mean, again, I get it. The Saints are a quality defense, but I almost felt like, once they took away Mike Evans and once they got down to a certain point, then that's when the play calling or, the playbook has to be opened up. It should be right away. That first drive shouldn't be the only, it just feels like there was no continuity with the offense besides the first drive yesterday. That's how I feel about it.
Well, the Buccaneer defense took away Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
And what did the Saints do? They get creative. They, of course, now you've got that second string quarterback, Taysom Hill, that can do a bunch of different things, and you utilize him. And because obviously this Buccaneer defense had Thomas covered, had Alvin Kamara taken care of, and really Drew Brees was not that impressive yesterday. But at crucial times in the game, because that Buccaneer defense did play as well as, played really, really well. If it had been for the fact that the offense kept putting them, and special teams kept putting them in horrible positions, that, this defense would have been even more impressive. But they came up with plays at key points in the game because they used a little bit of imagination and a little bit of smarts there. I'm not sure the Buccaneers did. And again, my point is, if imagination means throwing a ball to Justin Watson at that point in the game, when you have so many other weapons, I just don't get it.
All right, I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines. Mr. Johnny Dean, the Professor, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with the Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, Mr. Alkek.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, man?
Dan Patrick calls Mondays overreaction Monday for a reason. Holy shit, I'm going to see that. I'll call back, man.
All right, man. I guess he overreacted and then decided to back off of it. But the urgency in the situation, that's what you're talking about. Why would Watson be out there when he's not necessarily one of your best wide receivers? I don't understand it. There may have been some concussion. I believe there was a concussion with Chris Godwin. He was in concussion protocol, but I don't know. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Let's see here. Let's go back out to the web heads here. Okay, called Smith out. Sloppy game, but I'm feeling great. How about you guys? Dave says, only 2 screw-ups by the D, 1 blown coverage, and Vita jumping offside, which is a Pop Warner mistake. Other than that, they were lights out. Many thanks. Okay, thank you. Ain't nobody do what you do, Peter H. Blake. I appreciate that. Nobody. Johnny says, is that Canadian redneck speak? Andrew Fullbear. Jimmy says, OJ Howard did amazing. Looked like a whole new player out there balling. Andrew, once again, I only bring forth the best for the man himself. Appreciate your big board. Dave says, Fournette will be the feature back by week 6. Were you happy with Ronald Jones? I mean, there was flashes of brilliance. I thought he ran pretty well, but there were times where he looked a little tentative, especially on the goal line. I thought he was going to score that touchdown, but it just didn't seem like, I don't know. He was all into it. Am I wrong about this? What did you think about Ronald Jones?
Well, I was impressed with the run game, and I was impressed with both running backs. I mean, that was not a problem. That's not why this offense stalled as often as it did. They just couldn't make big plays other than that opening drive. They just couldn't make decent-sized plays in the pass game. So, again, and Johnny said it well. It is overreaction Monday, and most Mondays are always overreaction, and it's especially the case on the Monday after the opening season, after the opener of the season. So, you got Carolina coming in. I'm sure this team will settle down and do some of the things that we expected them to do, and I think you will see better performances throughout this football team. And I think you're going to see the special teams mistakes buttoned up. I think you're going to see a better Mike Evans. And for Donovan Smith's sake and everybody on that offense, hopefully Donovan Smith will be improved for game number 2.
All right, let's go out to the 320 Solar Hotline. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. You're on with yours truly, along with the Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, Mr. Al Keck.
Hey, Peter. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, buddy? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good. Yeah, I'm from Alex Jackson. I'm from West Palm. I called a couple of times the last couple of years.
Okay.
You're a true OG. I love you guys. You guys are original. There's like 1,000 of them out there now that Tom Brady's here, but you guys consistently watch. And from West Palm to Miami, we steady representing, and we love you, dude.
Hey, man, we appreciate that. We really do, Webhead. So what's on your mind tonight?
Hey, so I want to make a full disclaimer that I am totally with the Brady camp now, right? But it's so amazing that now I was a consistent guy. As long as we've been preaching, it's a team sport. He needs an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
He needs a consistent secondary. He needs a running game. And all of those things showed up yesterday. And so now I'm seeing all these comments about Donovan Smith. He is who we thought he was. He's reached his ceiling. He's not going to be any better. We've been preaching that for the longest, and now so people are surprised. The secondary played great. I mean, towards the end, once they got the rhythm and understood what the Saints wanted to do with them. The pass rush seemed a little tentative because they didn't know what Sean Payton was doing, but they got their rhythm in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And the inefficient run game. We've been preaching that for how long? Ever since Cutter's been here.
Oh, yeah.
We've been preaching that. And now, and people have been blaming it all on Jameis. But now everything is coming to a head. They need to still fix the offensive line. Wherever they need to scheme, the Bucs are going to get better by none. But it's just so funny to me now that all these weaknesses that the Bucs have been having for the last 4 or 5 years is showing up again. And now people are now identifying it instead of blaming Jameis. Like I said before, I'm totally with the new era.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for Tom Brady, and he will get better, but it's the same old. So they fix these areas, then we won't be a playoff team.
I'll just say this on this show, and I got called out by somebody today who wanted to debate me on Facebook. They said, well, I was right about this. Jameis Winston's gone, and my thought is, well, what are you getting by trying to prove that you're right first and foremost, unless you're getting paid for it? I'm not saying I'm saying this person that was talking to me about it. But I find it interesting how fans are able to give Winston 5 years, but one game and already Tom Brady is a joke. Tom Brady's over the hill. The season's over with. The sky is falling. Look, we know that they've had offensive line problems. We talked about it on this show. In fact, the Carolina game was absolutely a case for it. But then again, as a quarterback, even if you're being pressured, and Tom even admitted to it, he had some bad throws yesterday, but there was also times where he didn't try to force the ball. He threw it out of bounds. That's what Jameis couldn't do. So right now, did it help the Bucs with him throwing the ball out of the bounds? Absolutely, because then you don't have a turnover. Did it help the Bucs not having a preseason or training camp this year? It did not. They're going to have to get it together, and this offensive line is going to have to play better no matter what quarterback is behind center. But the difference is, at the end of the day, you feel more confident that Brady is going to make the smart decision instead of somebody that's going to try to force it into double and triple coverage. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Peter, I'm with you 100%. Well, also, I was saying how they had a forced fumble. Jameis fumbled the ball, and they had a forced fumble with Tom Brady to go around the corner. And the defensive end, and it was just – I'm just saying, until you clear that, I'm with the Brady camp. I love Brady. I'm with it. I think we're going to do great things, but we still have those holes that we've had 3 years ago. The secondary is not it's like we need it to be, and also the pass rush disappeared yesterday. And with the running game, it needs to. And that line didn't get very much push in that line. I guess they'll work it out, but that left tackle needs to be. Their left tackle just needs to be shored up, and it's the same problem that we had. There's no comparison to Jameis and Tom.
Right. To be fair, the secondary, you'll take 3 catches for 17 yards from Michael Thomas. I think they did a good job. Now, were they still in the game at the time at 24-17 and Jamel Dean messes up and gets beat by Jared Cook and that turns the game around? Absolutely. Does the defense still have things to work on? Absolutely. But when you hold a Kamara under 100 rushing yards, when you only hold Drew Brees to 160 passing yards and Michael Thomas to 17 receiving yards, you have an opportunity to win. That's all you can ask for. Look, it's not like the Saints are the Panthers or the Browns or Jacksonville or even the Washington football team. This is a team that won the NFC South. They were ready to go. They've been together a lot longer than the Bucs. I think it's fair to say that this team is going to be a lot better for this whole experience, Alkek.
Let's hope. And I agree.
Well, I mean, the big thing I would mention when it comes, that this gentleman's talking about is, Donovan Smith. And I know you mentioned that, these are the same problems with Donovan Smith that we've seen for the better part of the 6 years here. But he does play to a certain level. He didn't yesterday. He played well below that level, even well below what we've expected from him. And I think that was the biggest, between that and Evans not being mentally in the game. I think those were two of the biggest problems for this football team, because when you only target Mike Evans, 3 times? Obviously he's being covered, but he's your big play guy, and then Chris Godwin gets hurt. Okay, so there goes that opportunity for big plays. And you only target Gronk 3 times. And so other than Scotty Miller, they're searching for somebody that they can throw a pass to that they are hoping can turn into a big play. If Tom doesn't have time on his blind side, and it looked like he was constantly under pressure, that's got everything to do with Donovan Smith, and he's going to have to play better from here on out, beginning this week against Carolina.
Yeah, you're exactly right. What else, buddy?
Nothing else. It's just that I wasn't debating we should have kept Winston. I'm just debating that we still have those same problems. Well, you have a point with their secondary. They're better.
Right.
And also Mike Evans, sometimes he quits on his routes. He had the dropsies. He had a clear pass. Something he dropped the pass. I think I saw him drop a pass.
Yep.
He doesn't have a great catch after the radius. Sometimes he gets a little less space going his routes like he did yesterday. And Lattimore just owns Evans for whatever reason, right? And they need the scheme to get him open. But it's the same problem that they're having. They're gonna fix it hopefully within the next 3 or 4 games. And go Bucs.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for calling the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right.
Okay, we love you down here, Peter.
Hey, man, appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, so open phone line, the 320solar.com phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's see. So this guy right here, Dave, says Fournette will be the feature back by week 6. Do you agree with that? Only 5 carries for 5 yards yesterday. Tell you what, let's go ahead and save that. Let's go back out to the phone lines. The 320 Solar phone line. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. You're on with yours truly, along with Mr. Alkek.
All right, Peter, what's up?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Tristan.
Hi, Tristan.
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
Okay.
I'm hanging in there. Alkek, just want to acknowledge and just say, man, appreciate you for the last 30 years.
Well,
thank you very much.
Well, I'm showing my age.
30 years here. 30 years here.
Right. There you go. Exactly. Well, I'm just trying to give the man his due. I got you, Tristan. What's on your mind, boss?
Yes, indeed. Well, gotta bring a full circle. Hate to tell you, I told you so, Peter.
Well, hey, wait a minute now. Okay, it's only one game. Would you have to say, yes, Donovan Smith didn't play very well, but can they get this together? Can they put it together? It didn't help anybody by the Bucs not having some type of preseason, more of a training camp, more padded practices, right? You still believe this team can put it together?
Something Alkek kind of told us again for the last 20, 30 years. Football don't care, Peter. Don't care about your ears. Don't care about the time it needs to gel. Don't need nothing like that.
Okay.
Basically, what it's boiling down to, and we kind of just got to look at it objectively. Tom Brady is 43 years old. Yesterday, he looked like a 43-year-old quarterback. The run game is the same run game we've had for the last 8 years, give or take a Doug Martin season here and there.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, we have to acknowledge this personnel that we always said was going to be the number one offense in football. a top 10 defense in football, there's no possible way they live up to that.
You don't think so?
Offensive lines historically do not go from this to a top 10 O-line overnight. And we have continuity up front because everybody's saying continuity is a problem. This O-line has been together, aside from Tristan Wirfs, for the last 3 or 4 years?
It's true.
So that continuity, is that trending upwards or is it trending downwards?
I still think
professional attack.
I still think it's trending up. I still think you can fix it. I still think you can work on it with the additions of Gronkowski helping out. He helped out yesterday with Wirfs. That's why you didn't necessarily see him in the game plan. I could see Gronk or one of those other tight ends helping out a Donovan Smith if you get confident in Tristan Wirfs. I know what you're saying, but still, I feel like this team still has not played their best football. Their best football is in front of them. And you just have to give them some time because they haven't had the necessary time, especially with, we all know how difficult Bruce Arians' offense is. So Tom Brady's going to have to learn it. He's going to have to learn it on the run, but I have faith he'll do it. And I get what you're saying, 43-year-old quarterback. Does he necessarily have to be great here, guys? Can he just be good with the weapons the Bucs have? I think he just has to be good. I don't think he has to be great. I don't.
No. The reason why he won't be good, Mike Evans is going to have a down season this year, and it's going to be a decision time. Chris Godwin is going to have a Chris Godwin normal season aside from the one off last year. Those balls that Tom Brady's are throwing, which is why he threw to Mike Evans 3 times, Gronk 3 times, these receivers aren't going to get great separation. Tom Brady is not going to throw 50-50 balls. That's why it looked like last year with the Patriots, he had no receivers, but these are the same receivers he's been winning with aside from N'Keal Harry rather. Tom Brady is not going to put up the 50-50 balls. He's not going to throw the deep ball consistently like that. Scotty Miller should have a great season. Everybody else's numbers fall down. No way, no how Tom Brady gets these guys the ball. A number one receiver like Mike Evans should get about 7 to 12, at least, balls thrown his direction. The old weapon that we know is Gronk. He should get about 7 to 12 balls just on name alone, but he only gets 3 targets. At some point, we can say that, they need time to gel and so forth. What about Gronk and Brady? Shouldn't they already have type of chemistry? They should be running off ESP, eye signals, hand signals, and so forth that shows that they know what they're doing.
Well, if Gronk is helping out, hold on, Tristan. If Gronk is helping out a rookie offensive tackle, then that takes him out of your game plan to be a pass catcher. Then the other guys have to step up. And that comes down to what Al is talking about. Instead of throwing to a Justin Watson, you should be looking for an O.J. Howard. And that comes down to personnel. That's not on Tom Brady. That's on the personnel that Coach Arians and also Byron Leftwich installs into that offense. And if you're not putting that in your offense, that's not Tom Brady's fault. That's the offensive coordinator. That's Bruce Arians. And I have to say this, guys. I think there's an absolute possibility that if this offense continues on this slowward trend, that Bruce Arians would take over the play calling for a Byron Leftwich. I'm just saying.
No,
it's just
Peter,
one.
now
it's just one. It's just one game. It's just one game. It's just one game here, Tristan. You've already said that he's done
this. I told you this was going to happen in the offseason.
You had one game. You got one game under your belt. You guys are ready to throw.
It's a trend, baby. It's going like this.
Well,
this
we'll
is
see.
What it is.
You can tell me you told me so when you call me back in 15 games. Let's see if you call me back then. But I'm telling you right now, this offense will get better. It's one game. Everybody relax. What else, Tristan?
Okay. Last year we had the number one passing offense. Can you admit that this will not be a top 5, top 10 passing offense?
I don't know if you want a top 5 or top 10 offense, and I'll tell you why. You want more balance to your offense, and the game plan yesterday was to run the ball more. You take the pressure. Look, if your whole point of emphasis is that Tom Brady doesn't have it anymore, you take the pressure off of him. You open up those holes consistently. You give it to Ronald Jones and a Leonard Fournette and a LaShawn McCoy and a Keyshawn Vaughn, so you're not throwing 40 times a game because you don't want to be a one-dimensional offense because your offense line is not good with their pass blocking. Does that make sense?
And that is my point, Peter. It doesn't matter if Tom Brady is the GOAT, the boat, the lope. He is a sitting duck behind these guys. These are the same guys we had a young quarterback with who got sacked the most in the NFL last season.
Because a lot of the time he held the ball too long and was trying to make too many plays instead of throwing the ball away like Brady showed he could do in the game. Come on, man. Be fair about this.
A pick and a fumble.
Be fair.
He was 2.5 turnovers. He's on pace to do the same thing Winston did.
One game. You took one game. You're comparing Jameis Winston.
It's a microcosm.
No. You're comparing. Let me get this straight. Bucs fans. Let me go ahead and massage my noggin here. You're comparing 5 years of Jameis Winston, who had every opportunity, could do no wrong, and it was always about no running game and no offensive line, and you took it with Tom Brady with one game, and you compared it. What kind of math is that?
Hold on. Last 3 games, Tom Brady threw a pick 6. Turnover-wise, he's on par with Jameis Winston as far as giving teams the other points. So another thing is, I don't feel comfortable comparing a 5-year quarterback to a 20-year quarterback.
Then why are you
especially the greatest quarterback of all time?
You took one game and you said, that's it. It's over.
What's the common denominator, Peter? The personnel is the common denominator.
The common denominator is turnovers. You got one game with 2 turnovers. You got a quarterback that had 30 turnovers last year. And the coach of the Buccaneer organization, the general manager, the ownership told you he wasn't good enough. Every team in the NFL told you he wasn't good enough. That's why he's on the sideline right now as a 3rd-string quarterback.
This offensive line isn't good enough, and Brady will look awful behind this O-line.
Let's give it some time. Let's give it more than one game here. You gave Jameis Winston 5 years. 5 years is not enough time. Answer the question, Tristan. 5 years is not enough time. Is 5 years enough time? No. We need 10 years. We need 15 years when other quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson are not playing with the best offensive line and still winning games.
And they would look awful. They would look like Brady looked yesterday. They would look like Winston looked last year.
Bullshit. Sorry. 727-255-0391. That is BS. You fans come on here and act like the season's over with. Al, am I wrong about this?
It's one game. We're asked to break down the game. I don't think Tom Brady played as bad as everyone says he did, but his offensive line, specifically left tackle, was awful. The running game was not that bad. But they were behind and they had to throw the football. Mike Evans couldn't get open. Mike Evans was too busy thinking about fighting Marshawn Lattimore. Hopefully, and I know he came into this game injured. If that's the case, don't play. If you're 85%, don't play.
Right, don't play. I told you so, Pete. I told you so. What do you get? What do you earn by telling me so? You're supposed to be a Bucs fan. I told you so. You guys act like a bunch of petulant 4th and 5th graders. Going to your teacher and saying, ooh, he turned the ball over. Ooh. You don't think Brady throws turnovers? You don't think he throws interceptions? He's never thrown 30 in his friggin' 1 year. Never. Maybe 5-6 years. He's never done it in 1 year. The coach is wrong. The ownership is wrong. The general manager is wrong, right? They get paid millions of dollars, but Tristan and everybody out there is right about Jameis Winston. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Enough. I've had enough of defending this garbage. Johnny Dean, go.
How you doing, Peter?
Great.
Hey, I want to remind people that the best season the Bucs ever had started with a loss to the Saints.
Yes, true. The Super Bowl season. That's right.
And
are you having a good time here?
the Bucs beat themselves yesterday simply because they didn't have the OTAs in, they didn't have the mini camps in. All these little fundamental mistakes they were making would have been cleaned up if they had a normal season.
Right. It's amazing. Everybody, we don't need the training camp. We don't need this. And look, it's my fault. It's guys like me that said, you know what? Tom Brady's the GOAT. He'll be able to get the offense. But the reality of the situation is they didn't get the offense down. The first drive they came out, the Saints made the adjustments. They're not a laughing stock. They're a 13-3 team that won the NFC South. But for fans to sit here and get on the mountaintop and say, I told you so. It's one game. Let the freaking season play out.
I really don't know what people expect.
So I don't know where to go with that. All right, what else, Johnny Dean?
That's pretty much it, man. I just wanted to call in.
You guys wanted you wanted this passion, so you got it. Thanks a lot, Johnny Dean. Appreciate you. All right. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. I'm not going to sit here and listen to this BS. And if I said bullshit, I'm sorry. It's my show. Pets here. Stand by. Or actually, let's go out to the 320 Solar phone line. Welcome to the Evolution. What's up, Ben?
Hey, Peter. What's going on, buddy?
Good. You?
Hey, what's the problem is, Peter?
What's the problem?
We'll show enough passion.
That's okay. It's okay to show passion. I'm not fake. I'm not playing Parcheesi.
Peter, this is the best episode you've done, man.
Thank you. I don't know. I don't know if it's the best episode I've ever done, but if Alkek is a part of it, we'll take it.
Hey, real quick, Peter. Was it Alkek's birthday? Was it your birthday out yesterday?
It was Alkek's birthday yesterday. Yes. Are you going to sing him a happy birthday? Okay. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right.
And Peter,
yes.
you need a cigarette? Or?
I'm good, buddy. I'm very good. I'm good. Just
Hey, Peter.
Yes.
Peter, are you going to partake of your sponsor, mycannabiscard.com?
After listening and talking to some of these fans today, I feel like I have the duty to go to mycannabiscard.com, mycannabiscard.com, easy for me to say, right? 2,500 state licensed doctors and 30 plus qualifying conditions in the comforts of your own home. It's mycannabiscard.com. It's medical marijuana, which I would need to smoke a lot of it in order for somebody to tell me that 5 years of body of work you compare to one game. You're absolutely out of your friggin' mind. Ben, what else?
Oh, man. Nah, it's just, it's one game. Like one game. That's it.
Yeah.
And we're going to beat Carolina next week.
All right. Sounds good, Ben. Anything else?
All right, man. Take care.
All right,
no,
man.
That'll be it, man.
All right. Fire those cannons. Good stuff. All right. Call the 320 Solar solar.com hotline 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's go back out to the webheads here if we dare. Saints are a contender this year. Tampa did okay. Tough team. Again, this jerk off saying, I like Parcheesi. That's the problem. You're playing too much Parcheesi and watching my show instead of improving yours. Step up your game or go lay down like a dog. All right? Enough of you. We started losing once we quit running the ball with Rojo. Fournette. Let's see. Drew says that pick six killed us. Joshua says, tune into the Audible on Wednesday nights. Absolutely. Patrick, so many bright spots. Tristan and Winfield are ballers. Devin took on the captain position. Carlton locked Thomas down. SMB looked great. Defense looked like they did and really good for week one. Offense needs more time and needed week one to see what we needed to work on. Dave, let's go back to that comment because there was some positives about it. It's amazing, Bucs fans. There were actually positives in this game. Devin White, Levante David, Al, they really showed that they could be the best linebacking core or part of the best linebacking core in the NFL.
A wasted effort for this defense. Again, and we need to really put all this into perspective. Bucs lose by 11. Take away the pick six. Take away the block field goal. And the goal that came as a result of the block field goal. That's at least 12 points, maybe 13 points. Bucs lose by 11. So I'm not saying you take those plays away and they win this game, but it's a completely different game. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility of taking away, not making that pick six and blocking better up front on a field goal try. Just saying. Was Brady at his best? No. But I've seen Brady worse, and I've seen Buccaneer quarterback play worse. And, Donovan Smith has to play better. Mike Evans can't allow someone to get into his head. And just those two guys alone, if they play normal games, especially the rest of the way in the season with 15 games left, they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So despite what you saw yesterday, all these opening days, again, I'll take the Bucs right now. I'll take this Bucs season over Philadelphia's. I'll take this Bucs season maybe even over San Francisco right now.
Yeah.
And, some of the other – what about Minnesota? How about Minnesota giving up a 40 spot to the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, and when this is supposed to be one of the better defensive teams in the league? So this happens every opening day, especially this one, because no one got a chance to have OTAs. No one had a chance to play preseason games. So we just kind of get past this, and hopefully we see a better performance against Carolina next week.
I mean, you could be the Cleveland Browns. I mean, they're traditionally always lose the first game. They lost to the Ravens. You could be the Indianapolis Colts, who the Jacksonville Jaguars were supposedly tanking. You could be the Washington football team or the Philadelphia Eagles, which you signed Carson Wentz to a huge contract and he gets sacked 8 times, but you don't see the criticism from those fans. They don't freak out like a lot of Bucs fans do. You guys need to be on friggin' Prozac. Some of you honestly do. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. We're going to keep you here, Al. We got Leo Haggerty coming on behind you here, as this has been a spirited edition of the Sports Web. Let's see here. So many bright spots. Tristan Winfield or ballers. Okay, we read that. Want to read that again. Brady still looked like Winston, just older. Okay, guys. Dave, Devin White, and Levante are the best linebackers in the division, maybe the NFL. Don't go that far yet. Ha ha. Patrick says that Brady played worse as of now. I'm happy. I know Brady can elevate himself. He will be fine. Jimmy says Rojo looked like a steady bell cow back. I'm impressed with his performance and can't wait to see more. Brady still looked way better than Winston's ass. Okay. Let's go back out to the webheads here. Dylan says, ever since that situation with Jameson Evans a couple years ago, seems like Lattimore has been in his head. I will remind you, though, just a couple years ago, and you remember this, Ryan Fitzpatrick throws to Mike Evans, who beats Lattimore by a step and burns him. So it's not like, lately it's been Lattimore who's had the better effort. And like you said, we don't know if Evans was healthy or not. He was coming in with a hamstring injury. Maybe he wasn't 100%. So you have to go with what you have to go with. And if he's not 100%, I'm not sure the Bucs should have played him. But look, it's Mike Evans. And again, I trust this organization to do the right thing by Brady and by everybody else. I do. It's amazing. Slab said, Justin Watson, Tommy, no. Patrick, they have one of the best O-lines out there. Michael, good point, Al. Dylan, just a dumb play call in my opinion, but Brady can't force it in there either. Jack, seemed like the wide receivers were not getting open fast enough, just like the Pats wide receivers last year. Even Coach Arians talked about that, where wide receivers, if Brady was going to go to them, they had to win those one-on-one matchups. And we've talked about this before, where for some reason, either a Godwin or an Evans is not beating their guy one-on-one, and if a quarterback is going to go to you, you've got to beat your man.
Well, that's a prime example with Watson. He did nothing to go get that football. And so he just allows the defensive back to undercut him, take the pass, take it back for 6. So again, my feeling is very strongly that, number one, he shouldn't have even been on the field. With the weapons you have on this football team, why is Justin Watson even on the field for this time? And I understand if you're having injuries. I understand if some of the other things you have going on. All you're doing is bragging about all the offensive weapons you have. Justin Watson at this point, because he hasn't played, because he's always been hurt, is not one of those guys yet. And you've got to allow a guy like this to grow, but you don't put a guy on the field like that. And at that point in the game, to me, because that was a crucial drive, that was the difference in the game. Game over right there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And again, we talked about the special teams. What is Mike Edwards thinking on that play? I mean, really, is he thinking like Tristan on that play? Is he lost his mind? Why is he trying to go back there and fair catch a ball or trying to return it when he could just let the returner get it or let the ball go out of bounds?
The first thing you're taught on special teams in a situation like that is you don't go backwards. And that's classically what he did. Now, you don't have preseason games, and I can guarantee you, with the amount of practices that they've had in training camp, there hasn't been a whole lot of work put in on special teams. I mean, you get your basic stuff, but working on a situation like that, I mean, I know you're going off instincts, but guys that are true special team players, they know you don't go backwards.
Yeah.
And especially trying to catch a football. So, again, basic mistakes here, but you're talking about one of the best teams in all of football. They made those mistakes. They still held that offense well down. They outgained the Saints offensively. So I love the simulation where I think one of these, I don't know if it was the Madden season or whatever, played out the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the year, the Bucs end up in second place in the NFC South. Saints win it. Bucs end up 0-2 against the Saints during the regular season, but then they play in the playoffs and the Bucs beat them in the playoffs. If it ends up like that, are we going to remember that they lost to the Saints on opening day?
I'm going to remember it because I'm going to remind every stupid fan that called here tonight and every stupid fan that texted me that, hey, the Bucs lost the first game, but you had nothing to say when they beat the Saints in the playoffs. I agree with you. Nobody is going to remember it, but I am definitely going to remember it here, Al Keck. We're expecting Leo Haggerty.
But here's one more thing that I do have a problem with.
Right.
And we've seen this historically with this coaching staff. They don't adjust well. They don't. They march right down the field, score a touchdown. Then they can't make plays. Well, part of that is the fact that they can't get guys open, but they can't make plays because they're not adjusting. The Saints had trouble early on, and then they adjusted. And so this coaching staff has to do a better job of adjusting once the game starts. And so hopefully, and that was a classic problem a year ago, especially early in the season. How many times did we see this team appear to have a lead and appear to be in control in the first half, and then the first 2 series of the third quarter, it's over? They have just, given up so much because they have trouble making adjustments.
I agree. And they've got to do a better job of that, especially against a coach like Sean Payton and a great team like the Saints. And again, there's some positives you take out of the game. And there was points left there that they could have had and turnover situations. So seemed like the wide receivers were not getting open fast enough, just like Pat's wide receivers last year. Saints number 1 pick the last 2 years didn't play defensive end and center. Saints will be better next time. I guess so, Tristan. GM can only do so much about the coaching. The Glazers made their decisions. Light work for the coaches. Don't kid yourself. Or the quarterback couldn't buy time for them to get separation. The chicken or the egg. Doug says it wasn't that the Bucs lost the game. It is how they lost it. Abysmal special teams play, interception from Brady, the veteran tackle giving up sacks to a third and fourth best edge rushers. No stuff, Sherlock. Johnny Dean, so you're saying Light is yes, sir, guy. He's useless. How about them Jaguars? Duval Minshew Mania said, I ain't tanking for no one. Talk about some bright spots, though. Devin White, Levante, as usual. Davis, SMB, very optimistic with the unit, which is a relief because we know the offense will gel. Jack says Breeze was able to release the ball in 2 seconds. In fact, I think they did a Fox tracker on this. It was 2.57 last year. In this game, 2.53. Donovan Smith is also straight trashed. Elijah, the only thing we missed from Winston was his scramble ability. I'll agree with that. No pressure on Breeze, too, and Vita need to get it in gear. But with the scrambling ability and with him holding the ball, there's always the opportunity for him to fumble or get sacked. Remember, that's not always on the offensive line. I'm sorry to say. It's not. Byron Leftwich, the same guy that got looked from other teams to be a head coach. Hilarious. Patrick, for the Justin Watson point, I totally agree. I feel like they went with someone the Saints would not expect. But hell, we have plenty of names that are established to go to. Ron, Ben, why are you defending Leftwich so much? This guy's play calling sucks. Tristan, no way anybody tells me Brady doesn't have veto power. Ben, Ron, read the comments again. I'm not defending that dweeb. Leftwich is definitely not head coach material. Tell me I'm wrong. 11 tackles for loss. I believe that is I think I don't know who that. I think that's our defense. The best season the Bucs ever had started off with a loss to the Saints. Sorry, Ben, my bad on the last message. Watson was a secondary option. The play was a screen to the other side. Also, the ball was thrown so far inside. Watson had zero chance to make the catch. F the NFL, and yet you're here, so that's cool. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We appreciate the view. Seriously, Gronk gets 3 targets. They were throwing across the field outside to Watson, and the Saints had that one sniffed out before kickoff. They were just waiting on it. Ron, all good. Dylan says they were doing everything they could to shut Gronk down. Elijah, this is the best thing that could happen to the Bucs. I believe they humbled themselves. Is that a case? I mean, you humble yourself the first game. You start believing your press clippings. I mean, do you believe the Bucs were in that mindset? And did they need this loss in order to get them out of that mindset?
No, they just haven't played. And they haven't had that opportunity really to learn about each other and OTA. I know we tend to make a big deal out of that, but, you know, that stuff's important, especially trying to work some kind of chemistry. And maybe if Brady had a chemistry, more opportunities in OTAs to work with these receivers, maybe there could have been some more big plays from that passing game, or at least 1 or 2 more big plays from that passing game, you know. So again, take away the pick six, take away the block punt or the block field goal try, just those 2 plays, you know, that takes away 12 to 13 points. And I agree. They lost by 11. They lost by 11.
Yep, I agree. All right, it's open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the 320 Solar hotline. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with the Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, Mr. Al Keck. We'll have Rick Hughes on at 10:30, so we'll keep you until then. You're okay with that?
We'll see.
Okay.
If I just float away, I will.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So we read that. I watched the Raiders-Panthers game. Raiders poked their secondary apart in that game. Bucs offense should put up at least 30 points on them. Picked. Elijah says, put Kappa at tackle. He played it in college. Do you think if Donovan Smith continues to struggle and not play up to his ability, that they could look for a change with an Alex Kappa, or they just stick with what they have at this point?
Well, I don't think Alex Kappa is the guy. I mean, he played tackle at Humboldt State, which is a whole lot different than playing right now in the National Football League. He's playing, you know, effectively at guard. And, you know, Donovan Smith will play better. Now, will he play to the point to where we would all like him to play? I'm not sure that happens. And I'm not sure that, the Buccaneers don't go out and get a brand new left tackle next year. But he's on the books for $14 million this year.
Yeah.
So they put themselves there by signing him to that deal. And, that was really, the sore spot yesterday for the Buccaneers. And again, Mike Evans. Evans has got to be better. I sang his praises here, a week ago, talking about how he is one of the top 5 receivers in the National Football League. He certainly wasn't yesterday.
No.
Now, did he want to beat up Marshawn Lattimore? Yeah. And I think he spent more time doing that or trying to do that than he did keeping his head in the game. And we've seen this before for Mike Evans. This is not a shock.
Mhm.
How many times have we seen Mike Evans be inconsistent? But he usually comes back and makes people pay for it. And so hopefully we see a much better Mike Evans coming up next week.
And you talked about how we've seen this before. We've seen it last year with Evans. He had an injury, didn't play well versus the 49ers. What does he do the next game versus the Giants? 3 touchdowns, 180 yards. That's the kind of performance you would expect from Evans versus this Panthers secondary that's not very good. And somebody mentioned it in the comments. The Panthers secondary is not very good. They don't have James Bradbury anymore. Let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. You're on the 320 Solar Hotline. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Al Keck. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just want to say Tom Brady need to play like he is a veteran.
Okay.
I don't want no turnovers. I know it was his first game.
Okay.
I understand that he needs time to gel.
That's fair.
And
are you giving up on him? Can I ask you, are you giving up on Tom Brady after one game? Are you giving up on this Bucs season and this Bucs offense going forward?
No.
Okay.
I'm a Bucs fan from the core. I like Jameis Winston. I was a Florida State fan.
Okay.
We gave a hard time to Jameis Winston.
Okay.
I understand. He's 30 for 30. He did his thing. He's gone. I want Tom Brady to be Tom Brady every day of the week.
I agree.
I know it was his first game. I know he didn't have good practice because of the corona. But we ain't gonna. We need to blame everybody. Tom Brady had thrown them balls. Now he did. I would give him, if I was grading him, I'd give him a D.
Okay.
Because he threw the ball, and when he really wanted to get it to somebody, he threw him and he hit him in the chest, and he hit him hard, and it was up to the wide receiver to catch it. But you know what I'm saying? I just want him to watch and keep his feet. And he's in the NFC South now. They play defense, so I want him to throw them balls and do his thing.
Okay, that's fair enough. The offensive line definitely has to give you more time. They have to play better. The whole collective unit, the whole wide receiving core has to play better. But you're exactly right. Tom Brady has to play better, and he knows that. And even Coach Arian said it. He knows that he didn't play the best game. He needs to play a better game for this team to go to where they want to go, which is the promised land. Anything else?
No, that'll be it. I think we're going to get it together.
All right. What's your name, by the way?
The first game. Jim Sutton.
All right, Jim. Thanks a lot for calling the evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man. Good stuff. All right. I mean, that's what he has to say. I think that's what a lot of fans are thinking. You know, it's Brady's got to play like a veteran, but once again, it's like what we've said before. You've got to be helped out by your team. Your offensive line's got to do a better job. Everybody has to do a better job. And once again, it's not helped by not having that extra time in training camp and also having more padded practices. I'm just saying.
Well, that's not why they lost, and we're not saying that. Donovan Smith didn't play poorly because he didn't have OTAs, and they just didn't play well. And they Donovan Smith looked like he was totally out of it, totally intimidated, and was tired of trying to block a guy that was clearly more athletic and faster than him and more physical. Okay. And as far as Mike Evans is concerned, we've seen this before. He just gets other stuff in his head, and other things become more important than simply running his routes and trying to catch football.
Yeah.
This is not the first time we've seen either. So hopefully by this weekend and by Sunday, they get their act together.
Agree. All right. Gronk isn't the number one tight end on this team. He's here to help set the edge in the run game. Plus, Gronk isn't Gronk in the receiving game. He is slow. He is slow to the seam consistently. Also, James Bradbury, who was the Panthers cornerback, gave Evans a hard time last year, is now with the Giants. Another thing, Brady's new here. He's all smiles and seems to be being nice. How long till Brady rips a new one? Was that only because Brady felt at fault? He's a competitive guy. He wants to win. That's why he's the greatest of all time. He wants to win better than anybody, more than anybody. So, of course, he was upset. But it's not like he's lost games. He hasn't lost games before. He has. So enough with Brady's not used to this. He's had trials and tribulations. Hell, he's lost Super Bowls before and came back the next year and gone back to the playoffs in the Super Bowl. So enough with that nonsense. Thought the run calls were a bit predictable in the first half, which accounted for Rojo's slow start. Thought he was running hard and looked great. For sure, just a puzzling personnel choice. There was a bit of a pattern, as Al alluded to. Elijah. Saints are legit and have been. They know how good they are. Johnny, Bucs defense held the Saints' top-rated offense under 300 total yards. Let that sink in. 160 yards of passing by Drew Brees. I would be more concerned if I were a Saints fan about that offense, because I tell you right now, if it doesn't get in gear, they're going to be in trouble. They are. Carolina didn't look back.
And also, let me just say this and remind people about this.
Yeah.
You don't think that the Saints enjoyed beating the Bucs the way they did yesterday? You don't think that they circled this game the day the schedule came out, because all they've heard is Tom Brady this and Tom Brady that and Gronk this and Gronk that. The Bucs are going to be first team to host a Super Bowl and all this kind of stuff. They were loaded for bear. And this is a team that, quite honestly, didn't need OTAs. They can practice for 2 weeks and hit the ground running, because it's been the same group of guys for several years. The Bucs, they had never played together before with this quarterback and with Gronk, and so it was a different type of experience. This was a team that was ready and waiting for the Bucs, and this Buccaneer defense did a great job of holding their top weapons down, and it was the mistakes offensively and on special teams that prevented the Bucs from coming out and winning this game. And again, take away the pick six, take away the blocked field goal. That's a 12 to 13 point swing. They lost by 11.
It just comes down to simply that. All right. Let's see here. Bridgewater was solid, but the Carolina defense wasn't that good. They gave the Raiders 34 points. Raiders offense is solid at best. Agreed, Dylan Leftwich wanted to establish the run, kept putting the offense behind the chains on second down. Then with the Saints back-to-back scores with the KO muff, it was too late, which is the kickoff. I'm going to worry if we lose to the Panthers. The Raiders are an okay team, but Carolina stayed with the team, but their secondary is bad. Brady should pick them apart. Your eight through division games are tough. Watson is a number 4 wide receiver. He gets the play. The play wasn't for him. Bad decision and throw by Brady. Is that Tristan Wirfs on the phone? I'm kidding. Dave, what was the deal with Scotty Miller running into the back of the offensive lineman, which happened in that game? I didn't know what that was all about, which caused the sack. Basically, Miller ran into the back of Donovan Smith. Smith missed the defensive end, and the defensive end sacked Tom Brady. So it wasn't good. So let's see here. Thank you for all tuning in. Make sure you check out the Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. OMFG, it was one damn game. Damn. For how long we've had to practice, we beat ourselves against the Saints. No pick sixes, muff kick return. It may be a different story. Johnny Dean, Bucs beat themselves yesterday. Those fundamental mistakes would have normally been addressed in OTAs and minicamps. Shaking my head, the sky is not falling. Evans should have not played on Sunday. He was not 100%, maybe 85% at best. According to this caller, we are cursed and the season is done. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Evans still put it up. He was off his game with Lattimore, but without the PI, he has a 100-yard game. Johnny and Ben, 8-8, 9-7 isn't a far stretch, though. Would you guys agree? 11-5 says Johnny Dean. Patrick, I've seen 2 to 3 really nice deep balls from Tom. I think the deep ball is not a question. Absolutely. Fournette will be better once he has some time to learn the system. I hope. I don't know, man. Jimmy says Juju Smith-Schuster is tearing it up. That's against the Giants tonight. That's what's going on. Tell dude to shut the F up, please. Tell him, Peter. Special teams was bad. The non-offseason really hurt them. Ben, I will say that Evans needs to stop having cornerbacks rent space in his head. That's been an issue with him for years now. Guys like Hopkins, Adams, Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill, Michael Thomas are strong mentally. Evans at times gets fragile. I will say this, not only with the Evans thing, because we know that they have a long history with Evans and Lattimore, but also Cam Jordan. He needs to be taken a look at by the NFL. Some of the things he was doing yesterday, I don't know if you caught this, but it looked like Ronald Jones was down. He was trying to throw punches in the tackle. Some people were saying he was trying to knock the ball out, but I really feel like this was a punk move on his part. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Did you see it?
I did. And Bruce was asked about it. And, Bruce said, listen, it is what it is. He said he was trying to, knock the ball out, but it was a punch. Bottom line, if you win the game, all this stuff doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah.
And this team played poorly yesterday and still put up 23 points and still held one of the top offenses in the last 10 years to, more yards than what you rolled up. And, as poorly as they played, as disappointing as they were in that opening game, it was just a couple of dumb Buccaneer mistakes that spilled the difference.
I'll tell you what, Al, let's get you out of here. What do you got coming up tomorrow night on the Al Keck Show?
We're going to try to get past this game and hopefully talk about Carolina. So I have a guest, and I'm still working on some things. So hopefully we'll have a much better show. And this I can tell you, we're not going to the phones. I'm not going to do that. And so hopefully what we have will work.
Appreciate your time tonight. That's the Al Keck Show exclusively here on Bucs Report at 9 o'clock. I thought it was a great show. Was this filled with passion? We say 3 things on this show, Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. So we will see.
But you see, Peter, maybe this is the difference. Quite honestly, if you're going to be on my show, you have to take an intelligence test. And so before you're even allowed to call in or type in or whatever, and just saying.
I got you. Absolutely got you. Al Keck, thanks a lot. The Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, 40 years of sports broadcasting experience. Happy birthday, my friend. And we'll see you tomorrow night here live on Bucs Report at 9 o'clock. All right?
All right. Sounds good, bud.
All right, there you go. So Mr. Al Keck joining us here. We'll get Rick Hughes on here in a moment. Want to read the rest of these comments, and then we will get to him. Let's see. Here, you can't make miserable people happy. By the way, we love Mad Peter. Hell yeah, I love mad and passionate Peter. Laugh my ass off. I love everyone that thinks they're right about their bad predictions when it's so easy that everyone is horrible and has been out there. Been out of a year of football. Renzi says, tell the caller, please hang up. He's stupid. Peter about to blow. Patrick, I love Winston to death, but Tom with 1 game this year isn't compared to Winston in year 5. Eric, the coach. I'm surprised we didn't hear lightning when Peter is screaming. M. Wagner laughing. I'm glad. This is the best episode ever. I appreciate you guys. I did say it. I won't say it again unless you guys force me to. I agree. Whoa, Tristan, Peter Superman bleeds. I didn't say, once again, it's 1 game. I never said he didn't throw interceptions, But to think after one game that you can compare the body of work to a quarterback that had 5 years is ridiculous. You act like the season's over with, and it's not. Patrick says, yes, it is. Wow, Peter's truly mad. Not even all funny passion. I agree. Right. Let's see here. Bring your passion, Peter. Absolutely. Tristan, lifelong Bucs fan, expectations are always greater than what's in the oven. 9-7, 8-8. And that's, look, you can feel that way if you want to, okay? You could be a pessimistic Bucs fan. You could say the expectations in the last 25 years have not done what they needed to do. You could say all you want to, but it's 2020. Nobody gives a rat's ass about 2017. Nobody cares about 2002. There's not Warren Sapp or Derek Brooks or Warwick Dunn or John Lynch or Rondé Barber coming through the door. They're not coming. Yes, I stole that from Rick Pitino. So stop with the nonsense. This is their own identity. This has nothing to do with superstition. Nothing. 727-255-0391. Sick of it. I'm sick of some of you Bucs fans. Sick of it, man. All right. We know Winston was in the same shoes as Brady was in yesterday. However, this is his first game. I bet you Brady will make the adjustment. Whether he rips Donovan's ass or the coaches, he will get it fixed. Terry, it's just one game. 15 still to go. We will be okay. Thank you. Peter has warned everyone. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I think the Bucs will still win 11 games. The Saints is just a superior team at this moment. Let's go out to the 320 Solar Hotline. Welcome to the Evolution. I'm your host, Peter Blake. What's on your mind?
Yeah, for people that are being pessimists about what's been going on, I got to say this to them. Brady doesn't lose back-to-back games. And, in fact, he's lost 3 home openers, or 3 opening day games, opening season games.
Correct.
And 2 of those, he came back and won the Super Bowl.
Right.
So people need to chill the fuck out.
All right. Well, we don't
It's
usually
only one game.
we don't usually drop the F word on here, but
sorry.
that's all right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Ed, and I'm calling from Palm Harbor.
All right, Ed. I appreciate that. Just don't drop the F word. I appreciate the passion. What else, buddy?
That's they need to get rid of Donovan Smith. I mean, we've had this guy for a long time now.
Yeah. I mean, he's been talked about a lot on this show, and I've tried to convince people, but the effort yesterday wasn't good. And Coach Arian called him out on it, said the effort wasn't good, and it hasn't been good. So he's got to improve. And if he doesn't improve, then that will be the indicator of where he needs to be replaced. And I'm guaranteeing you that if he continues with this effort, Coach Arians and this offense will replace him, and they won't think twice. They've done it before. They'll do it again. It's all about accountability. And then on top of it, having a Tom Brady in that locker room, he's not going to put up with it. He's not going to.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Good stuff, Ed. Thanks a lot for calling the Evolution. All right.
Have a great day.
All right.
Love
Thank you. Yep. Thank you very much. He said he loved me. So, okay. Good stuff. I think he's calling back. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on the 320 Solar Hotline. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. He hung up. I always like when people say they love me. That's good. Because I wasn't feeling the love today. I guarantee I was not feeling the love. Did I come on here a little bit upset? Absolutely. Do I apologize for it? Absolutely not. You're not passionate about what you do. Get out. I love this. This is real. This is what we do here on Bucs Report on the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. Join the 65,000 following we have here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and of course the Bucs Report Twitch channel. And if you don't know, you should. We go out to the deck on Sundays and have your pre, half, and post-game editions at the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. There's not another Bucs platform that goes out and does a remote broadcast and gives their fans the opportunity to get on camera and be a part of a TV-style presentation show that has radio elements. This is not a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's the evolution of sports talk television. And you're either with me or you're against me. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Relax, man. We don't need these toxic fans. The chemistry wasn't there yesterday. We'll be fine next week. You're the man. I love how you tell it like it is. We have to give it more than one game. I think Brady will use that fire going forward, and they will figure out how to make an O-line better. No hard feelings, Peter. No, it's cool, Tristan. I mean, it's cool, man. You can feel the way you want to, but if you're coming on here and you're going to have a contest with me and you're going to say after one game, I told you so, that's not a good debate. You want to call me up and tell me after the 16-game season that I was wrong on it? I'll take it. I've done it before. I'll do it again. I've been wrong. I've been right. But I'm on Bucs Report exclusively, and there's not nobody that can say anything about it. So there you go. All right, let's go out to, we got Peter Sickle. I was like that because it is BS. Absolutely. What's going on, Shooty Shoots? Patrick says, Tristan, we just can't live in the past. Half of the fans do love Winston, but this year we can't keep bringing up JW every time Tom fails or the Bucs lose. I mean, it's like having an ex-girlfriend. I mean, dude, she moved on. She moved on without you. Move on. Turn the page. It's over with. Go find something better. There was a reason why she left you. So move on and go find somebody else that's better. Enough with, oh, I wish we had this person. I wish we had that person. Go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the 320 Solar Line. I'm your host, Peter Blake. What's on your mind?
Hey, Peter, I just wanted to call and say hello. I'm loving the show tonight, my friend.
Great.
How are you?
Great. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Ren. I'm from St. Pete.
Okay, you go ahead. What do you have to say?
Well, I just, we know it's typical Bucs fans that react this way, that always react week one, and it's really easy to throw a bunch of stuff up against the wall. And then when you hit one right and you come in and you want to talk your junk. So I think you were spot on with that caller, and I'm glad to see you're fired up about it. I think the reason that a lot of the Bucs fans are reacting this way, it's not so much that we lost the game. I think a lot of Bucs fans knew in their hearts that, the Bucs had a really good chance of losing this game. It was how they lost. It was how the veteran tackle, let the third and fourth best pass rush from the Saints abuse them. It was how, the field goal unit just totally collapsed and like the ball hit the guy in the chest. It wasn't even good. And then, of course, the kickoff muff. And you string all those things together. They're things that we've learned when we played football back when we were 8 and 9 that our coaches wouldn't put up with. So with sort of that pitiful display, I think that's what's got Bucs fans most riled up. And right now they're just trying to point fingers at one thing. So like, if we take care of that right there, we can fix it tomorrow, and we're going to go on and we're going to take down the Panthers next week.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I don't have anything to – I just feel like if a fan is saying after 1 week that it's all over after a bad performance, and then you're comparing, a fifth-year body of work to somebody who's only been in one game, I think that's unfair. Don't you?
Oh, it's more than unfair.
Okay.
There was that huge debate last year about, during the offseason, how many picks were Winston's fault and how many were the wide receivers. BA after the game said it was Brady's fault. And today at the presser, he said it was Mike Evans' fault. And then, that pass out to Justin Watson was a terrible decision and a terrible pass. It was 5 yards inside, and he decided to go there. The play was supposed to be a screen on the other side. But besides that, it's funny. And however you feel about PFF, and I kind of have a love-hate relationship, because when they don't give a player that I think is good a bad grade, I don't like PFF. Mm-hmm. But when they give players like Levante David, they're just due, I love PFF. But Tom Brady was the highest-rated Buccaneer by PFF from yesterday's game. So, he didn't have a bad game. His deep ball was elite. He was throwing darts out there.
Yeah.
All those pass interference calls were right on the money, plus the ones that he hit. What was eye-opening to me about Brady was all this talk from training camp about how it's always on the numbers, how he always puts it in a spot that the guy can catch the ball and continue running. And that's what I did not see from him. That was a disappointing part for me from Brady. Besides that, I thought it was and as a Bucs fan, it's hard to hear, but it was just a tough luck game.
Yeah.
We're up 7-0. 90 seconds later, we're down by 7. We're in the game down by 7. Saints score, muff the kickoff. They score again. Game's over. It was kind of like,
Well, there was points in the game where they're down 24-17. Your defense has to step up and make a play. They've done it most of the second half, and then they give up a long bomb to Jared Cook because Jamel Dean is looking in the backfield. Those are the kind of things that young players commit, but you have to clean up, because if you don't, you may be able to get away with that next week versus the Panthers. But against a Drew Brees and a guy that is a veteran-savvy quarterback, you're not going to be able to get away with it. He's going to make you pay, and he made Jamel Dean pay yesterday. So overall, I think, Ren, you have to say the defense didn't play bad. You only gave up 160 passing yards to Drew Brees. You held Kamara under 100. But when it came down to it, and even Coach Arians talked about this, was the fact that the turnovers put the defense in a bad situation. Brady has to play better. He knows he has to play better. And then you have to correct those things on the offensive line. And you also have to correct the blocked field goal, because that's points on the board, and the special teams blunder is inexcusable.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Dean thing, like Troy Aikman said, and I thought it was all Jamel Dean's fault. Apparently Bruce came out today and said that there was supposed to be a safety over the top. But, there was still no one even near him to cover. So, even though he did have safety help, I thought it was still kind of a bad play by Dean, not as egregious as it was before, at least according to Bruce Arians. Maybe he's trying to protect him. But I think the defense played awesome. Really, I think they played awesome. One of the things that is true coming out of training camp about Bruce Arians talking about Carlton Davis and be a top 10 corner, he proved it.
Yes.
He showed it.
Yeah. So,
and the only thing that scares me next week, Panthers, I know you talked about it a little bit, Panthers defensive backs, they're terrible. They're in total rebuild back there. But if Donovan Smith gets beat by Hendrickson and Granderson, and the last time I heard that name, he was playing corner outfield for the Orioles in the 90s, he's got to go up against Brian Burns.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't pull his head out of his butt, it could be a much closer game than we think this Sunday.
Absolutely. They got their work cut out for them. Anything else?
No, great show, man. Love it.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much for calling in the evolution of sports talk television. All right.
Love you, Peter.
Thank you. All right. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255. Rick Hughes, I see you in the lobby. I'm so sorry. I want to read the rest of these comments. I don't want to neglect them. That's the difference between the evolution of sports talk television. Not only to take your calls, but also read the webhead messages here. All right. Let's see how we adjust next week. Okay, we read that already. Tristan, how many years have you just heard it's just one game? That's fair. But again, I would have to say that there's more talent on this team than years previous. Would you agree with that? And with people out there, and I heard this today, Jason Light should be fired. Really? Jason Light should be fired after one game with all the talent that he's accumulated over this time? Really? 2014, when he came in, would you say there's more talent on this team since before he got here? I would say there is. All right. So beautiful segue. Hey, Peter, I got my bowl packed. Come and hit it. I liked Winston, but he's gone. So now it's Brady. Give him a chance. Tristan, I had to pour a drink after this. I'm glad that everybody was entertained by it. Good. Tristan Gay, I agree with you in the sense that it's been a lot what fans have heard and have heard all just to be disappointed. That is my point. Brady with the line may not be able to make a difference. That's also a point. Hope Brady calls out the line this week. Shooty Shoot says, why are the Bucs consistently bad in special teams? No idea. Great question. And that was Tristan Wirfs yesterday, missing the block, it looked like, on the field goal, 54-yarder. Hit a 38-yarder, missed the 54. That's points off the board. That's points to come back to haunt you. All right, I'm going to hold off on the call. I'm going to read the rest of these comments, Jim. I'll get back to you in a moment. Hey, I missed the passion. Ben says, as far as I'm concerned, Devin White, Levante, SMB were the stars on defense yesterday. Shaq, on the other hand, didn't show up. Tristan Gay, absolutely. The O-line will be a key component to the result of the season. no doubt. More comments here. Again, I want to make sure I read them all, so we'll do it. Long before, okay. Read that. Okay. Right. We know Winston was in the same shoes. Okay, I read all these comments. Why are they coming up again here? So hold on. Missed my place here, so stand by. Let's see. Wow. All right. Okay. Oh, here we go. I wish we could watch inside the Bucs facilities today like Hard Knocks to see what the hell they're talking about. I'd pay $1 million to be a fly on the wall. I think we all would. For what Donovan Smith is being paid, we must make a decision there if he doesn't get better. Agree. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers will be a winner next week against Carolina. You'll see a different football team next week. Johnny Dean, did anyone see Aldon Smith play yesterday? A beast. We need 3 more step drops. How'd he go? I mean, that's certainly a possibility here. Going back to that 3-step drops, easy for you to say, not for me. That's quick passing. So that may be incorporated with the offense. Again, it was just one game. We'll see what the game plan is against the Carolina Panthers. Johnny Dean, I did look like 49ers self. What about down the road when he plays better? Teams we will be able to execute and win. Jimmy says, I think Evans was hurt and was out there as a decoy. Johnny, look fresh, really impressed me. That's what happens when you get your life together. And of course, he's dealt with his inner demons, with the alcohol abuse and stuff like that. And that's a day-by-day process. But now you can see when Aldon puts it all together, he can be one of the top pass rushers in the league, period. So what do we do with the number 1 pick in 2021? Just kidding, Peter. Saints played us mostly man coverage. No, it looked like it. Washington football team may have the best D-line in the league, at least the potential to be the best, if not the best. Agree. No, the doubled and played a lot of zero. Also, I saw zone, says somebody, but also saw man. They change it up. They played man early on when the Bucs were running the ball. Lots of man. 100% Al. Johnny Dean, I've already saved the episode of the show for later reference. Good. March down the field. Opposition makes adjustments, and we don't. Truth, Al, they have to learn how to adjust better. Always been an issue. Ron says again, call me a pessimist, but the team looked very undisciplined and also failed to adjust. Another point. Lots of penalties. Got to clean up that situation. Isn't Arians known to be a coach who demands respect of his team? Agree. Always. Okay. A hard slants. I don't know if that's in their offense. We'll see if they incorporate it. At least we didn't have any injuries, and our defense is good. 100% Dylan. Typical overreaction Monday. It's really exhausting. It's okay. Gronk was blocking the whole game. Al would say Carlton Davis is a top 10 corner. Been out of touch all day. What was the deal with 13? Suffering from a hamstring injury, 1 touchdown at trash time, but very, very ineffective in this game. Either he was injured, or you just give credit to where credit is due. Marshawn Lattimore got the better of the matchup. Or will he be the end of the year? Look like his first day. Nathan says, take away the mental mistakes. Johnny Dean, Steelers put the Giants to sleep. Love the mullet Al. He's not here. Al Keck is like, I'm sharing the Sports Web spotlight with Leo. Laugh out loud. Ben Cornett, you know he's going to read that about the time Leo is on. Titans Broncos coming up. Put Joe Haig at left tackle. Not sure about that. Johnny Dean, Titans 23-10. Okay, I'm back. Miss anything? Let's see. David Searles, the Haig. Did you just say? I'll go Denver just for the hell of it. Tristan, Locke is a baller, and the O can get up. Get it, 3-step drops and hard slants. Very good. Laugh out loud. Tristan Gay, without Von Miller through the defense, will struggle. Smith was trash. Ben, Johnny Dean, I knew he would. James Conner left the game with an ankle injury. The Pittsburgh game. Chubb is a beast and will fill the void. Johnny Dean, I want Jerry Jeudy to light it up tonight. Brady will be a lot better after that game. Brady came here to compete with Drew. The Saints own Donovan Smith. Jordan owns the space in his mind. Proved it when he thanked the Bucs when they signed him to the big contract. Nathan, of course, Tristan, everybody will bring their A game for Brady. Did Winston give him the playbook? Dylan, yep, Saints are a well-oiled machine. Big target on the backs when Brady came to town. I have said it before, the Bucs are going to have to learn to play with a bullseye on their back this year simply because everyone is going to bring extra at Brady. Players will be focused and ready. We have to play better, period. Nathan, Saints have always been dirty. Look at the coach. Bountygate, Johnny Dean, Denver has the Titans rattled already. Patrick, you're right, Peter. You know that they really aren't happy. They barely beat us. Brady was dropping dimes. Brandon, we're going to be all right. One damn game. Real Buck fans know. Johnny Dean, it's easy to be pessimistic. If you're right, you get to bang your chest and say, I told you so. If you're wrong, you get to cheer and yell along with all the rest of us. No lose situation. But inside, you know you missed out on a lot of fun being Dior, I guess. Didn't we just drop VH3 with money? Would they consider dropping D. Smith? Laugh out loud. That's kind of different when you have cornerbacks to back it up. If the right guy was out there for sure, but there is no easy task here. Tackles don't fall off trees. What's the YouTube link? Yeah, I think the Pewtercast brings fans on, though, video too. Well, that's good. Good for you guys. Again, we do something different here on the Evolution. That's all I have to say. I've said it, and I'll keep on saying it. Not the O-line, just Smith. 76 takes too many plays off. Dave, thanks. No, I can watch on big screen. Go Bucks. Brandon says, man, let's get to the real Bucks fan talk. We will educate the slow Bucks fans later. Alex, I'm with Levante Davis comment. We got a little humble pie. I feel like Jones and Fournette ran strong. That's promising. It's going to open up the passing game so Brady can spread the ball around. Andrew, this guy sounds like Douglas. It was. And I let him speak. I didn't talk over him or yell at him. No way PFF is a farce. The eye test told the story. Earl, Donovan Smith still sucks. Nothing new. He's stealing money. First game, folks, breathe and relax. It wasn't Dean's fault. I repeat, it was blow by the safety. It definitely looked like Dean, but I may be wrong. Who is the special teams coach? Keith Armstrong. Exactly. Keith Armstrong. Earl, rest of these comments, and then we will get to our guest. Okay, thanks. He need to be fired. That is all. Exactly. We're already looking to fire coaches the first game. He should have signed a couple linemen instead of Gronk. Again, not a lot of linemen out there that you would say quality starters. Earl Harris wouldn't say that should be the case now, but if no improvement, then we have to look at coaching in that department. Jerry, I believe the Bucs defense will be top 5 defense this year, and John, defense held their own. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go out to Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. I am sorry, but there were so many comments in the web tonight. It has been a passionate episode on the Evolution. How are you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm doing good, Peter. Peter, this is why I went off on fans the other day, and you were saying to me, calm down, Rick, calm down. This is it. This is it. This is the stuff that drives me nuts, man. This is the stuff it blows my mind.
It does. It blows my mind, and I get it. There's still some hurt fans out there. You know, I kind of compare them to having ex-girlfriends and seeing them do better. And it's like, instead of watching them and saying, I should have been better, move on, turn the page, move on to somebody better. Jameis Winston's not coming into the door. He's not your starting quarterback.
Right.
Tom Brady is.
It took Jameis Winston 5 years to get to where Tom Brady wasn't one day. Okay.
Right.
It's not like anybody can look at this game and go, oh man, they regressed. No, they didn't. That's exactly what they were last year. Okay. Right. Now we'll move forward from that point.
Exactly. Yeah. Move forward from
I do have one thing I do want to say, and I got to get this off my chest. I'll be quick. But Mike freaking Evans. Now, let me tell you something. I don't mind the fact. I mean, look, those pass interferences, they were real. That was a real deal. The Saints were hanging all over the wide receivers all day. They did Scotty Miller. He almost had that one-armed great catch. They were just hanging all over the wide receivers. All right, fine. That's fine. But you know what? Mike Evans, young man, get over your extended adolescence and grow the heck up. You know, stop acting like a little crybaby. Every pass play is not a pass interference. That's the one thing I want you to get over. Get over that, okay? Every pass play is not a pass interference. And when somebody shoves you in the back, you know, that I am shocked that did not get called both ways, that penalty, because he turned around and basically punched him in the face. So stop that stuff. Mike Evans, you are a talented freaking man. Stop it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And Coach Arians talked about, you know, that was one of the positives because of the pass interference. We saw the refs kind of miss a pass interference. I don't know about you, but to me, the ref should have called that penalty on the defender that was defending Chris Godwin. He made contact. If you're going to call it one way on Jordan Whitehead, why aren't you calling it the other way? That's what upsets me about referees. They're not consistent when they're making that call. Make the same call, and then you finally get a call later on in the game.
Yeah, I agree completely, and it was the first game for the officials too. You know, I mean, we said how, Peter, you and I have sat here for months saying things are going to be sloppy at the beginning. We sat here for months saying you got to expect this out of the first games, that there might be a slow start. There may be a slow start. Be ready for that, Bucs fans. It's been repeated, and now you played a team like the New Orleans Saints. You held their offense I am stunned at how great the defense looked. I had hopes for the defense. I didn't have this much hope. Yeah. I mean, this was really, if you look at the numbers, a pretty darn close to epic performance. I mean, they stopped. If I know Al was talking about the field goal and the pick six, I believe. But there's also the kick that he wasn't talking about. That's 17 points. I mean, that's 17 points right there, just on those 3 plays. I mean, the Buccaneers played good enough to win. And here was the problem. The expectations got built up so much. Everybody got so excited. Everybody was so happy because nothing went wrong. The fans, I cannot believe, if there's one franchise that the fans should be used to adversity, it should be this franchise. But no, apparently 6 months of everything going right, and everybody loses their minds.
Yes.
And forgets the fact that, it's an oblong ball. This is a different kind of a deal. It's not going to be a perfect year. I don't care what Ray says. We're not going 16-0. Stop it. Look, man. They played a great game. There is so much to be hopeful about. Yes, I felt the same horror you did when that pick six happened. I just sat there with my jaw on the ground. It was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Everybody felt that way, but it's one game.
Yeah, well, it was Norris Jenkins, the guy that got picked on last year by Mike Evans. We're on with Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats show that's going to be on Sunday nights after the post-game extravaganza, which only lasted about 2 hours last night, but we had plenty of phone calls, plenty of watchers out at the Deck Bar and Grill. Those guys are unbelievable. We got Liam Mitchell coming up here in a moment. I'm not going to cut you, Rick. We'll talk to both of you guys and get your thoughts.
I can wait in the lobby if you want to go ahead and give him a.
No, we'll get him on in the lobby.
Awesome.
But the positives in this game, we talked about Devin White and Levante David. Who else did you see? Carlton Davis. I mean, look, he had a pass interference call. He's been known to be a little bit too aggressive at times, but anytime you hold Michael Thomas, the 3 catches for 17 yards. That's pretty.
I refuse to say anything negative about any of the defensive players at all. It was a great game. Yeah, if there was a play that wasn't perfect, whatever. Okay, you're never going to have a perfect game. I will say I was happier with the running backs than I think a lot of people were. Same thing happened. We got down by too far. When the Buccaneers got that far down, what happens? Everything's out of sync. I mean, that's your running game is going to be the thing that suffers. So they ran hard. I'm perfectly fine with the running backs at this point. I'm not worried about that at all. Gronk, a little slow. He looked slow. He looked like he was running at just a different speed than everybody else on the field. It was weird. It was weird. I mean, it looked like, wait a minute, am I watching slow motion and everybody else is running fast? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. But I'll tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines. Let's go out to Johnny Dean, the professor, on the 320 Solar hotline here with yours truly, along with Mr. Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats.
How you doing, guys?
Good, man. How you doing?
All right. I just wanted to say I have been hung up on by Dan Patrick, Peter Blake, and now Rick Hughes.
Really? Did you hang up on Johnny Dean?
Yes, I did. He's the first person on my show to have to walk the plank.
Uh-oh. Johnny Dean. But you know what? We still love you, Johnny Dean, the professor. We love when you call our shows here. We always let you call back. We never banned you, right?
That's right.
There you
Let
go.
me tell you how it happened. Let me tell you how it happened because he deserves some of your sound effects here, Peter.
Well, let me say this. I never banned Tristan either. Me and Tristan get into it sometime. We've gotten into it before. We'll get into it again. Always welcome. Love a good debate. Just, don't BS me. All right.
A good debate is one thing.
I have to say this, though. The Rick Hughes one was kind of pre-arranged.
He did say he wanted to be the first person kicked off the show.
Oh,
but let me tell you something. It wasn't prearranged with what he said. Oh, he deserved it. You know what he said to me? He said, well, I have to change my prediction now. I think the Buccaneers are going to lose both games to the Saints. And then he started talking 2021. I'm like, dude.
I have no idea what Rick's saying.
Let's talk about the Panthers.
Right. Well, I think what he said is you're looking forward to 2021 because you believe that this team is not ready, which is your opinion. They're not ready right now to go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, possibly make the playoffs because of everything that happened off the field. And look, if you look at the performance yesterday, you can certainly make that point off of one game if you like. But it is a long season.
They're not a veteran enough presence yet.
Right. Okay.
Give him a week. Give him another week. For crying out loud, it's the first game they played together.
Rick's got that passion now, don't he?
Well, I mean, it's just this drives me nuts, man.
It's rubbing off on everybody tonight. It really is. And I got hit with it. It started out with Will Mann last night. Love Will. Don't always agree with them. Don't always agree with Tristan. Don't agree with all the webheads. I'm glad you guys tune in and appreciate what we do here. I try to tell it like it is. But I've been fair about this. When Winston was in town, I said it was the offensive line. It wasn't just Jameis Winston. It was on to a certain degree, to a point of where people thought I was a Winston defender, which I was to a certain degree. I was. But I also always said the offensive line had problems. I'm going to say the same thing. They need to fix the offensive line. Now, is that Donovan Smith playing better or is that him being replaced? I don't know, but it's hard for me to go off of one game and say, you know what, we need to replace Donovan Smith. I'm like, let's see it play out. Let's see what this team can do. And if he still continues that same effort, then you have to make a change because now you have a 43-year-old quarterback.
You're going to put Haig in Smith's place? They will be begging for Smith to come back.
Yeah.
Johnny Dean, here's where you were right. You've been saying the offensive line needed depth. You've been saying that this could be a problem. You've been saying it as long as I can remember knowing you this offseason. You've been saying this. So, yeah, this played right into it. Okay.
I can't hear a word Rick's saying. I'm not joking about that. It sounds like he's talking into a tin can.
Rick, are you I don't know what's going on here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear him, Johnny?
He sounds the same way. It's like it's a tin can or something.
Huh.
I don't know.
I don't know what. I'll tell you what. Try to call back, and we'll try to get you back on again. All right.
All right. Love you, Peter.
Love you too, Johnny.
Everybody's afraid of you now, Peter.
I'm telling you, they are. I'm going to put you in the lobby really quick. We'll see if we can get the sound issue. Let's go ahead and get Liam Mitchell. So I'll put you in the lobby.
Okay.
I will come back to you. Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats. Stand by. In fact, really quick, before we get out to Liam Mitchell, let's go out to our sponsors. Let's take a break, take a breath, relax, and we'll be back for the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
Sports Talk Television, powered by 320.com, 320solar.com. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Let's go out to Liam Mitchell. I keep on forgetting it. I don't know why. A fan to
Fan Network.
Fan to Fan Network. There you go. Liam Mitchell does a great job with the Bucs highlights. An unbelievable hype video that you put together for us exclusively here on Bucs Report. Can't wait to see the next one.
Thanks,
I gotta feel like, though, you're not too hyped about the Bucs loss yesterday to the Saints 34-23, right?
Yeah, very disappointed to say the least. I was honestly expecting a win. I mean, this is one of the tougher opponents we have, but I was really confident in Tom Brady and all the weapons we have. But, you know, like you guys have been saying on the show, it's one game. I'm not going to overreact. The first game of the season, we had no preseason, no time to gel, no time to build that chemistry. Come on, it's one game. And it was against one of the toughest opponents in the NFL on the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, Liam, you were blown out of the place. I mean, yeah, the score reflects that, but they were down at some points, 24-17. Defense can't get a stop. Drew Brees makes the play. Bucs defense doesn't. And that's the thing. You know, Alvin Kamara, you hold him under 100 yards. You only hold Michael Thomas, the 3 catches for 17. Drew Brees for 160. So there are a lot of positives to take out of the game. Of course, what people will focus on is the turnover situation. And like some people have said, the way they lost the game with the turnovers and special teams and, of course, the penalties.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same problems we had last year, but it's Tom Brady, man. And like you said, I was really pleased with the performance by the defense. The Saints have one of the best offenses in the NFL. Michael Thomas had 3 catches for 17 yards. Emmanuel Sanders did almost nothing. Carlton Davis, I thought, had a really good game. SMB had a great game. Devin White and Levante David were all over the field. It's just these inopportune penalties and these turnovers. It's the same thing every year. The talent is there. You can't win ball games when you're turning the ball over and you're committing these dumb penalties, giving them more opportunities. And it just seems like they're at the worst times. Like Jordan Whitehead's pass interference on Emmanuel Sanders on 3rd and 13.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, that ball wasn't going to get caught.
No.
You know, that was double coverage. It should have been intercepted, really. It's just bad timing. It's the same old stuff. We're always one of the most penalized teams in the league. We always have the most giveaways in the NFL. It's the same thing every year. It's not talent. It's just stupid mistakes.
Do you put that on coaching? Is that fair to put it on coaching and a Coach Arians? Because some people were saying, the webheads were saying yesterday, that they feel like once again Bruce Arians got out-coached by Sean Payton. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. You know,
Okay.
I think that is fair. I mean, at a certain point, stuff like penalties, you know, Vita Vea jumping. I mean, are we not working on that at practice? His face is right in front of the ball, or is he just not thinking? You know, this is day one stuff you learn in youth football. Good teams don't make those mistakes. Mike Edwards running 15 yards backwards diagonally trying to catch a kickoff. I mean, you know that's not your job. I mean, are we not working on this stuff in practice? So I do think it's fair. But I don't. It's hard to say, but I think it's a fair assessment to put it on the coaches, and it can't continue because results. If we don't get the results, you move on.
What did you think about this running game yesterday? I thought Ronald Jones at some points really ran strong. He looks bigger, looks like he could be faster when they create those opportunities for him. But are you liking what you're seeing from this running game, or do you think that Leonard Fournette eventually could take over the starting position for Jones?
As a whole, I didn't like the run game yesterday. I thought it could have been a lot better. We were only getting 2 to 3 yards a pop every run. For the running backs, I actually think Ronald Jones looked a little better than Leonard Fournette. I thought he looked quicker. I thought he looked like he had better vision. He was just hitting the holes faster, but maybe that's because he's a little more accustomed to the offense. But I definitely don't think the O-line was getting the push. I mean, they were getting no push up front. We had a couple runs. I think Ronald Rojo had a couple runs more than 10 yards. But for the most part, we could not get any push up front. It was 2 to 3 yards a pop. We could not establish a run game, and it definitely wasn't helping the pass game.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just reiterating that I do think Ronald Jones actually looked a little better than Leonard Fournette. He looked quicker.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. And I think it's a good 1-2 punch. Let's tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Liam Mitchell here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Hello, this is Jim Sutton from Dayton, Ohio.
What's going on, Jim? We got a question for Liam?
Yeah, how you doing, Liam?
How's it going, Jim?
I'm all right. Hey, I like your take on the game. What do you think of how Brady did?
What are your thoughts on Brady? Because that's been the point of contention today, Liam. 23 for 36, 239, 2 touchdowns, but of course 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. Your thoughts?
I thought it could have been better. I think he's a little rusty learning this new playbook still. I mean, that second interception, the first interception, I would put more on Mike Evans. I think he didn't run through his route. The second one, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what Tom was seeing. Janoris Jenkins was just sitting on that route, waiting for it. That was a really bad throw. You know, the one difference I think between Jameis and Tom is Tom doesn't have that mobility that Jameis had. And I think that's, you know, the O-line's going to have to step up even more at that point, because Jameis would sometimes run out of these, have to get out of the pocket and make some crazy throws like a Fran Tarkenton status. That's not what you're going to get out of Tom Brady. He needs that clean pocket. He threw some dimes yesterday, though, man. He can still throw. So I'm not going to stand here and say, oh, he's 43. He can't throw the ball. He threw some really pretty passes, especially that first one on the first drive to Chris Godwin. Really nice ball. For the most part, I thought it was an okay game. It's Tom Brady. He's going to get better. Just give it a couple weeks. Let him acclimate more to the offense.
Yeah, and I like the deep pass to Scotty Miller. That showed that they definitely have some chemistry brewing there. And Scotty Miller, you know, he has that speed. You can't really teach it. I thought the pass was brilliant. I also thought the other pass to Chris Godwin, the first pass of the game, I know there's a lot of Winston fans out there. I feel like Winston would throw an interception. I hate to say it, but it's happened in games. That first pass was perfect to Chris Godwin for 29 yards. So I just feel like he has to get into a rhythm and understand the verbiage like he's talked about and Arians has talked about, and getting more comfortable into this offense.
Yep. Beautiful. And Scott Miller, I give it to him. He looks good, man. The guy can fly, as I think I said on the show last week.
Yeah.
You're absolutely what I see from Scotty Miller as our third guy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. What else, Jim?
What about our tight ends? We got all the tight ends. We got, of course, Gronk. We got O.J. Howard. We got where was Cameron Brady?
Yeah, I mean, that's one missing component that you didn't see. I mean, you had Gronk helping out on Tristan Wirfs. You saw a couple of times where they threw the Gronk. You saw O.J. Howard have a touchdown, 4 catches for 36 yards, but no Cameron Brate. Liam, are you surprised that they didn't incorporate Cameron Brate more, or was he just not getting open?
Not very surprised. We have so many different weapons out there. I'm not too surprised that we didn't get him more. I could maybe see it in future games, try to get him more involved. It could have just been he wasn't getting that open. I don't think he was on the field a ton because, again, we've just got so many guys out there. As far as Gronk, Rick alluded to it earlier, he did look slow. He looked slow, man. I was expecting a little more from him. He looked stiff in the hips, man, and he looked pretty slow. OJ looks pretty good, though. I liked how OJ looked. We'll see with Cameron Brate. We've just got so many guys out there. It's hard to get the ball around. I wasn't too surprised that he wasn't that involved in the offense.
And you're kind of wondering here, guys, I know Jim's on the phone. Appreciate you calling the Sports Web, the 320 Solar hotline here. If Gronk, if he's still not 100%, if he's not in shape yet, but you're exactly right. And the main question was with that year taking off, but he's had those back injuries. You kind of hope that that stuff hasn't caught up with him, because we remember when Gronk was with the Patriots, he was having trouble with running, and it looked like he had a piano on his back, as Rex Ryan would say. So what else, Jim?
Hey, yeah, and all our wide receivers, we got a lot. Miller did great. Godwin, he needs way more touches.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans was hurt. He came back at the last minute, so he should have been a decoy in this game. They should have been throwing it to Godwin. He should have been throwing it to Miller. He did good with Miller.
Yeah, I think it comes down to this too, Jim, and Liam, we talked about it with Donovan Smith. Your offensive line has to give you plenty of time, and if they don't give you the time, then you may not be able to find all these targets. It's all well and good to have all these outside targets, but if the line's not giving you time, you can't do it.
We started to have we're throwing bubbles, quick screens. We got to get the ball out so quick because the O-line's giving Tom no time.
Yeah, agree.
Something about that line.
Yeah, no, you got a big test against Carolina because you got some young defenders there that you're going to definitely have to defend. Good stuff, Jim. Thanks a lot for calling the
All right.
Evolution. All right.
All right, thank you.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, the offensive line, even Coach Arians talked about it, how it was a poor effort, one of the poorest efforts that Smith has ever had. I mean, is that what you saw? You watch a lot of Donovan Smith tape.
It was bad. Trey
Yeah.
Hendrickson was working him, man.
Mm.
I mean, if he wasn't giving up sacks, he was forcing Brady up in the pocket quick, and it was easier for the guys in the interior on the Saints D line to step into him and force bad throws. You know, I thought Wirfs played a better game than Smith for sure. Donovan Smith had a really, really rough day. I know fans have had issues with him in the past, and it's true that if it keeps up, do we bench him? Do we move him to the right side? I don't really know yet. It's something that I think I gotta analyze a little more myself, because as of right now, I don't know. I was not thrilled when we gave him the extension when we did, though.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that weren't thrilled about the extension, but it is what it is. You get out from under that guaranteed money next year. Let's go out to Mr. Johnny Dean. Johnny Dean, can you hear everybody? You're on with yours truly, along with Liam Mitchell of, what is it called? Fan to Fan
Network. There it is.
Oh, I got you. Fan to Fan Network, and we're going to have you tell us about what you do with that show on YouTube. Johnny Dean, the Professor, you're on.
Yeah, I was just listening to you guys and you're talking about the coaching stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
and you no OTA, no minicamp,
Right.
400 missed touches with the ball.
Agree.
Okay, just stop with this. Oh, it's the coaches. It's this, it's that. No, it's the shortened season, and we were playing against a team that has had one coach for over a decade and consistency and a large veteran presence there against our rookie.
I think that's also
Okay?
fair. I think
That's
it's also
the main
fair,
difference.
but there's also points of where Arians is not making the necessary adjustments. And
How do you make adjustments with a team that hasn't learned the adjustments yet?
well, look, you have still players
You
on
have
this
to put
team.
those game plans into the game plan.
I agree, but Johnny, you still have players that were there last year in that system. I mean,
and those players have to learn too. That you want, when you go into a new year with a new coach, you add to the playbook.
I
So,
certainly hope they
there's-
do.
Well, we saw things that weren't in the playbook last night.
I agree. We've seen some things. We also seen some
can't
things that you've seen last year, some very questionable calls, especially running the ball on first and second down and putting yourself in those situations on third down where it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, instead of manageable ones where it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7.
Well, it works for Patriots and it works for the Steelers and it works for the Ravens. So I don't know what to tell you about that.
Well,
we don't have the offensive line for it.
That may be the case. That definitely may be the case. I'm not ready to give up on it.
Plays
So.
would work. Also, a lot of those plays would have worked. But even Arians pointed out something that I was saying in the game thread yesterday. The tight ends weren't blocking well.
And why do you say that? You don't think Gronk was blocking well yesterday? I thought
None
Gronk
of the
did.
none of the tight ends were blocking well. Arians said so in his interview today.
Okay.
He was disappointed in the blocking from the tight ends.
Okay. Well,
those screenplays weren't blocked well, and you need the tight ends to block well in screenplays.
Okay. All right. Good stuff, Johnny. Anything else?
All right. That's it, bud.
All right, man. Appreciate you. All right. Liam, tell us what you do there on YouTube with Fan to Fan Network.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't already, go check out my YouTube channel. It's just at Liam Mitchell. You'll see the Buccaneers logo. I do a bunch of stuff on there, a bunch of history videos, archivable Bucs videos. And then over at Fan to Fan, what Fan to Fan is, it's like a conglomerate of 32 different YouTube representatives, one from each NFL team. And we do live streams on Twitch, on YouTube. And basically, we just go at it. We do game previews with each other. So like this week coming up, got a guy called Big Cat over with the Carolina Panthers. We're just going to give a game preview, go at each other's throat. And then we do post games on Mondays. And then we do little division previews on roundabouts like on Thursday nights. So it's fun. It's just you're getting, it's from a fan's perspective. You know, we try to stay away from the mainstream media and give our perspective from a fan's point of view. Some of these guys are crazy on there, man. This Big Cat guy is crazy. So
yeah, well, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and go out to the webheads here because our fans are absolutely crazy too. Let's see here. Let's see. Todd Bowles needs to be the next head coach when Bruce bows out. touchdown Denver, 7-0 Denver. I tried to delete that. Tristan says, told you Locke is a baller. Denver's legit on offense. They tried to pick on Winfield in the beginning, quickly changed direction. I thought he was impressive. He nearly made some plays yesterday. He looks like he's definitely going to fit in here, Liam, in this secondary.
He looks good, man. The only guy that I thought had kind of a rough day in the secondary was Jamel Dean.
Yeah, I agree.
He had a couple of rough plays. That deep ball to Jared Cook, that 46-yarder, was definitely Jamel's fault. He stopped running, and he got right. He just let Cook get behind him, and then on the play earlier, it looked like, I don't know if we were in a cover 2 there. I can't remember what coverage we were in, but he scooted. It was so close. If you just had a little bit more height, it was just a little bit back. It looked like he jumped on the route, the short route in the flats. So a couple times he had some brain farts out there. Other than him, though, I thought everyone had a good day. Antoine Winfield looked good.
Yeah, again, I mean, I keep on emphasizing it. 160 yards from Drew Brees. Anytime you hold him under 200 yards of passing, you expect Brees to go for 200 or 300 yards of passing. You hold him to 160. So the defense was good. I thought Devin White was everywhere. I mean, just all over the place. If this is what this kid is going to be this year, boy, oh boy, Bucs fans are going to fall in love with him quick.
The speed this defense has is awesome. With the linebackers, with David and White, it's got to be the fastest inside duo in the NFL. I mean, it's really hard to run stretch handoffs because of how fast these linebackers are and because of the push we get on the inside. I was very impressed with Devin all over the field. Even Sean Lutting, man, and Carlton Davis flying in the backfield, causing these running backs back inside for the linebackers to hit them.
All right, let's go back out to the webheads. Good stuff here. Let's see. Dave says, is Rosen a possible quarterback of the future? We kind of talked about that. I don't know how you feel about that. Do you feel like, is it too early to tell about Rosen, or do you feel like that they can develop him into that quarterback because he is a first-round selection and they're really excited to get him in that practice squad?
Yeah, right now for sure. I think it's a little too early to tell. I think, again, like you said, though, he was a 10th overall pick. So we mentioned it in the show last week. The potential is there. The word potential. When you're that high of a draft choice, there's something there. And when you sit behind a guy like Tom Brady, you got Bruce Arians in the building, Byron Leftwich, you've got a lot of guys there to help you out, man. So, I mean, the time will tell. I think it's a little too early to tell, though.
I think you're right. But I am excited about the possibility. Winfield is going to be a stud once again. Jason finds a baller. Are you comparing us to the Chiefs already? A season is 17 weeks. I feel like everyone is doubtful because they seen the Chiefs play on Thursday. Even the Chiefs are going to have a 17-week season. Tell him, Rick, Rojo showed power, balance, and vision, got every yard that was there and more. A victim of volume, Johnny Dean says, laugh my ass off coaching, no OTAs. He went into what he said in his phone call here. I don't know what this comment is about. Random question for Liam. Have you ever been... Okay, that's cute. I don't know why you would say that. What is it?
What is
have you ever been wedgied before? Why do you care? I mean, honestly, what does that have to do with anything we're talking about at this point?
Yeah, I don't.
Obviously, with that question, my friend, you have been wedgied not only tonight, but also throughout your life. Now, here's what you get. That's what you get. Yeah. Best virtual edits video, Tom Brady favoritism. Not on this show. I guess you've been listening to something else or have dementia because we haven't been saying that at all. OJ Howard played good. Titans touchdown, 7-7 now. Blake Anthony. Liam, you're going to challenge me and Madden. Blake is looking for some competition. I take free wins. Christopher says we will get better each game. And Johnny Dean, LBD was the biggest impact defensive player in the game yesterday. I think Devin White and both Levante David, that combination is scary. Shaq, I didn't hear a lot from. You saw JPP, what kind of difference he made. He had a sack in this game. Any concern about Shaq, or were they doing a good job of double and triple teaming him?
I think they were just doing a good job. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't do much against the Saints in either game last year either. It's the best offensive line in the NFL. You know, I think they were doing a good job blocking him. I'm not worried about Shaq Barrett, though. I think he'll be right back on track next week against Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at this Carolina matchup a little bit because we've been talking about the Saints as the Bucs lost yesterday 34-23 to fall to 0-1. Of course, they come back home with the Panthers. Panthers had a heartbreaking loss to the Las Vegas Raiders, 34-30, something along those lines. So Christian McCaffrey, he's a point of emphasis. Of course, Bucs did a pretty good job of shutting him down, but he still was able to make some big plays. So you have Teddy Bridgewater, you have Ronnie Anderson, who they got from the Jets. You still have some offensive weapons, but a very young defense, right?
Very, very young, man. They lost a lot of pieces. Obviously, Luke Kuechly just retired. James Bradbury left for New York. It's rookie head coach. You know, I definitely think the Panthers are in the cellar of the division this year. And, you know, this is a good opportunity to get a win and get on track and build some momentum here because this is a young team. Teddy Bridgewater's decent. They have some weapons on offense, but this offense, Christian McCaffrey's great. I think he's the best back in the NFL. But if we can play how we played defensively against the Saints, we'll be fine defensively. We just got to keep that up.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have a lot of turnovers. He's good with the ball. Didn't get a chance to see his statistics yesterday. I'm not sure if he had a lot of turnovers, but usually he's pretty good with that. So you want to get pressure on him. You want to force him to make those throws that he doesn't want to make, and then you take advantage of it. But your defensive line, I feel like, has to play better. You're exactly right. Shaq was non-existent. He has to have a big game. JPP, they have to do that because you take the pressure off the young secondary. And even with all that said, they still, in that back end, had a good game versus the Saints. Let's go out to Tampa Bay. Ray Kennedy, you're on with yours truly, along with Liam Mitchell. Fan to fan. I definitely think we're all set on the Carolina Panthers. We're trying to look forward here, but you know, people keep on trying to look back. I got to ask you, Tampa Bay Ray, because we were talking yesterday at the deck. You predicted undefeated season. Still feeling confident, maybe not in that prediction, but still feeling confident in this team. A lot of overreaction by the Bucs fans, right?
Yeah, and you know, Pete, first, I appreciate the question, but I wanted to also point out that honest and Liam, great to talk to you, my friend, because that hype video you did, I finally got a chance to watch it start to finish yesterday a couple of times.
Thanks, Fred.
Amazing. And Pete and I were sitting there right before we went on our pregame show. We were watching it. I don't know if you did it on purpose, Peter, but you showed it to me right then and there.
Yep.
And it gave me the feels. And when we went live, it was fantastic. And I think I heard you allude to, you were talking to Liam about he's doing another one for this week. Is that correct?
I don't know. We'll see, man. If I got the time. Full-time college student, I got a lot of stuff. I got a couple videos coming out, but those hype videos, those cinematics, it takes me some time. So I hope so.
Yeah, I hope he does, because I like the hype videos, or at least, you know, make some type of intro for a game. We'll play it. We'll definitely shout you out, because I like using your intros instead of using somebody else's intros. I'm just saying.
Thanks, guys. And Ray, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope the fans out there like the stuff I put out. So
yeah, absolutely, man.
Let me tell you something. And my wife, my wife and I did professional wedding videography for over a decade. And she's the editor. I just help her shoot the footage on wedding sites. But I know more than a lot of people the time that goes into that, and that's one of the reasons why that video impressed me so much. And when we sat there and watched, like I said, right before we went live, before our pregame show over there at the Deck Bar and Grill, I was like, it just, I mean, there was like, Peter, I turned to you and I said the hair on my neck was standing up, especially at the end there with the ho-ho Pirates. But
that was awesome.
Good stuff, brother. But you know, back to your question, Peter. Like you said, and the thing about Donovan Smith is we've seen those concrete feet, the lack of downfield blocking. And Liam, you really alluded to the fact, some of the things that you hit on right when you came in with the interview to Peter tonight. But we've seen Donovan at this, you know, people always say his best ability is his availability, but if anything else, also we've usually seen him bounce back from bad games. I've not remembered more than 1 or 2 games in a row where Donovan's really fell flat. Now this week against those Panthers and that, you know, Gross Matos and Brown and that revamped defensive line, it's a challenge, but I think we'll see the Buccaneers adjust for that.
Yeah, no, and they're going to have to make adjustments, and they're going to have to play better football overall. You can't turn over the ball. You can't have penalty situations. And you can't have breakdowns in special teams. It's all 3 facets of the game. I know it sounds so football and so simplistic, football 101, but you have to be good in all facets of the game. And if one of those facets is lacking, it's going to cost you. Anything else, Tampa Bay Ray?
quick question for both you guys, because I just posed this question over in the Bucs Report chat on the side. I was watching the show and we were chatting, and I want to know if I'm the only person. I just flipped on the Broncos whatever game tonight, and I'm watching it while I'm listening. I'm just had the volume down, listening to your show, listening to you guys rapping.
Mm-hmm.
Is it me? Or I did not notice one time yesterday when Toe met leather at 425 there at the Mercedes-Benz Dome Part 2, whatever, the lack of fans in the stands. I think it's because us as Bucs fans and Bucs followers were so invested in the game, didn't notice it one time. Now every other game has been strange, and I want to know if you guys noticed it yesterday when you were watching the game. I'll go ahead and exit and listen to the question.
All right, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay, my co-host. Thanks a lot for coming on the Evolution. All right.
You got it, brothers. Talk to you soon.
All right, there you go. Did you notice it? Because I didn't notice it. I've noticed it in other games, but I don't know. I'm getting used to it now, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I didn't really notice it. I think it's a little different than like the NBA. A little bit of a different vibe because you can't see the stands for most of the game. I don't know. I didn't really notice it though. I never really even thought about it.
Yeah, I'm not noticing it at all. I'm hoping they bring back fans, and of course, the hope is from Bucs fans. Then in October, hopefully that Packers game, you're going to see more fans. Go ahead, Liam Mitchell, promote yourself here. We'll get you out of here on that.
All right, guys, if you haven't already, go check me out on YouTube at Liam Mitchell, and go check me out on the Fan to Fan Network. I'm the Buccaneers ambassador. It's a network of 32 ambassadors, one from each NFL team. And we do live streams on Twitch, on YouTube, on Monday, Thursday nights, on Sunday mornings, and we go at each other's throats. Fan versus fan. It's fun. Some guys get really into it. It's exciting. And then I post some articles on fantofannetwork.com as well. You can go read my stuff and watch my videos over there. Really appreciate all the support I get from all you guys. It means a lot. I love making these videos, whether it be Bucs history, current events. I love doing it. So thank you guys for all the support, and go follow me.
Absolutely. Liam Mitchell right there of a Fan to Fan Network doing great things. And hopefully he is going to make an intro for every game that the Bucs play, even if it's like 1 minute or 2 minutes, just get everybody pumped up here. Liam Mitchell, thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for having me, man. Have a good one.
Absolutely. You too. There you go. So open phone lines powered by 320solar.com, 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. We'll go back out to the comments here from the webheads. Liam, what do you see the Bucs doing against the Panthers? He's already gone, so we'll save that for him next time. Dallas Stars are in the finals. There you go. Stanley Cup on to Carolina. Of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning will have an opportunity to close out the New York Islanders tomorrow night. So stay tuned. We may be able to have that during the Outkick show. Look at Kalani with his hands on his hips, tired from missing the whole offseason. Johnny Dean, Denver was just stopped on 4th and goal. Twitch chat is the worst. Twitch is the worst. Ray Kennedy, exactly. The lack of fans had no impact for the game. Douglas, the Saints OL, like the rest of the roster, is good. No pressure on Breeze until Bowles started blitzing linebackers in the second half. Good stuff, Douglas. Let's go out to Rick Hughes. Welcome back to the Evolution. And he's exactly right. I mean, the Saints line is very good. That's the reason why Drew Brees is able most of the time to stay healthy. That's the way you have to treat it. That's where the Bucs have to go about it. The line has to get better. But when they did start to blitz, it seemed like they started to get to him. The problem is when you blitz, you leave those guys one-on-one.
Yeah, and what was with JPP and coverage so much? I mean, it was that was kind of weird. But I mean, Nick Citro called it before the game, saying that you're not going to see much of Shaq Barrett, and the same thing happened against New Orleans last year. The thing that I find a little disturbing is that it seems like the Buccaneers came in with the exact same game plan as last year, and it seems like the reason that I think the Saints, for some reason, I don't know if this is how they are with everybody, but they really have a thing for the Buccaneers, trash talking about the Buccaneers. I mean, they did it immediately. Cam Jordan did it again immediately after the game. There's something about this team that the Buccaneers just let them get in their head, and I don't understand it.
Well, I'll tell you right now, once again, the NFL has to take a look at that tape where Cam Jordan is purposely trying to punch somebody. He's not punching the ball out.
Right.
He's not trying to do a Peanut Tillman deal. He's trying to punch somebody on the ground.
Right.
Nearly punches Ryan Jensen, holds back. So I feel like the NFL needs to suspend him, but you're exactly right. At the end of the game, he was asked about having no fans there. He said, well, it's just like playing in Tampa because they have no fans. So what I would suggest to fans out there, if you're so upset, do not let a Saint fan get into Raymond James Stadium. Pack the stands if you're able to, and then he'll shut up. That's all I would say. Or just shut him up by blocking him.
Well, that's it. That's the answer. And right. when don't Evans just pay no attention to what anybody says. Who cares what Lattimore says? Just go out there and play.
Yeah.
And if he pushes you, walk away and let the flag stay on him. I mean, there's just a lack of mental discipline. And this is what I wanted to bring up. This goes, everybody's saying, oh, Arians and a lack of mental discipline with the team and the penalties. Listen, I don't get it what it is with this team, but you can go back 2 decades and it's the same freaking problem.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's penalties. What is with Vita Vea?
Well, it's a bad penalty because you know what's going to happen. Most likely, you know what he's trying to do. That's what Drew Brees is trying to do.
Sure.
I don't think they're trying to call a play. I think they're just trying to draw somebody offside with a quick count. And I get it. Vea's young, but he's still been in the league the last couple of years, so there's no excuse for it.
Yeah.
And he's jumping offside. And those are the kind of opportunities when you give and I believe they extend the drive and they go down and score a field goal.
That is the stuff that gets cleaned up in preseason. Right. That is the stuff that gets cleaned up. If you're even scrimmages against another team. And that, I think, had a bigger impact in many ways. The lack of scrimmages against other teams, I think that had a bigger impact maybe even than the preseason games, because that's where the starters get real work against other people. You play against your own guy every day, day after day after day. You're not getting the same kind of work. So I don't know. I mean, game's over. I get it. This is Manic Monday. We can all we can all cry. We can all feel this way. It's Monday. That's fine. But let me tell you something. When you wake your butt up tomorrow morning, I don't want to hear about this game anymore.
Well, I hope you don't, but I feel like you're still going to hear about it on Wednesday. We're on Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats. Let's go ahead and get Frank Ammons on from 320 Solar. Of course, one of our main sponsors here, one of the newest sponsors, powered by 320solar.com. Welcome to the evolution. And first and foremost, tell them about 320solar.com.
Appreciate you guys letting me jump on with you guys.
Absolutely.
Hope you guys are having a good night, everybody out there. Thank you for letting us be a partner with Bucs Report and the Sports Web Show with Peter Blake. Guys, if you guys want to eliminate your electric bill, solar is the way to go. And there's only one company really, in our opinion, that'll help you go solar the best way, and that's 320 Solar. And basically that means you can eliminate your electric bill, use your own power. Most people don't know that, the state of Florida uses almost 70% of their electric production is from natural gas. And if natural gas decides to have a peak in the price, guess where your electric bill is going to go? The same direction. So have your own power, give you control of the cost, like anything. And going solar allows you to do that. We got a special promotion this month. If you go solar, you'll have no payments till January 2022. And that'll allow you to have the freedom of no electric bill and no payments until then. So go to our website, 320solar.com. We'll be glad to help you and talk to you about how you can go solar with us.
All right, I mean, we've been talking about the game. It's been hot here all night long. I got hot about an hour and a half ago. Just letting a fan have it. And the whole thing is here, Frank, a lot of fans right now are ready to jump off this bandwagon. They're panicking. They're saying Tom Brady is old. He's washed up. I mean, this is overreaction Monday at its finest, right, for Bucs fans?
Absolutely. I mean, we do have some history that makes us skeptical about things, even with COVID-19 being the best offseason we ever had. And, being that the opening game, we definitely had some things that happened in that game that probably shouldn't happen, or at least we didn't expect to happen. And so kind of the Bucs, a lot of Bucs fans are very, whiplash, if you will, on success. And so, there's going to be some people that definitely going to say, well, this is the same old Bucs. I don't think it is. I think if you look at some of the bright sides of what happened yesterday, you'll see that, a lot of people picked the Saints to win at home, being that they already have the same group of guys. We have a new group of guys, a lot of new groups of guys on our team. And, what happened was expected, other than the sloppiness and the penalties and a lot of the turnovers, of course. But as far as wins and losses, there's a lot of teams out there who lost that were not supposed to lose. And I think a lot of people expected the Bucs to lose, being the fact that we're more of a newer team than the Saints were. So, this certainly doesn't mean the end of the world. Matter of fact, if you're a real Bucs fan, you remember we lost opening day to the Saints and went on and won the Super Bowl. So this really doesn't mean a lot if you really know what you're talking about, especially if you're a Bucs fan.
Absolutely. And we're on with Frank Ammons of 320solar.com, along with Mr. Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats here on the evolution of sports talk television, powered by 320solar.com. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's go around the NFL. Let's get off this Bucs game because it seems to become a Debbie Downer, an anchor of this show right now. Let's talk about your biggest surprise. I mean, to me, it goes to the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. They had an opportunity to win here, guys. Here's a rookie quarterback, necessarily have all the statistics. And then the referee calls A.J. Green for offensive pass interference. Looks like he had a go-ahead touchdown. And then the kicker has a calf injury, misses an easy chip shot kick to win the game. The most surprised I am is that a rookie quarterback has this team about to win against the LA Chargers. I think that's what I'm most surprised about. What about you guys?
Definitely the Jaguars beating the Indianapolis Colts. What the heck was that all about? I mean, Phillip Rivers, what happened? Gardner Minshew? I mean, weren't we going to tank it for Trevor? Isn't that what the whole conversation was? Tanking for Trevor or whatever? Oops. I mean, Minshew might have something to say about that after all. I don't know. Some teams, it's addition by subtraction. Maybe you get rid of certain players, and all of a sudden the team decides to finally play. I can't explain that game at all, other than to say it's game one. We said weird things were going to happen in the first week of the season. There you go.
What was the biggest surprise for you? Was it the Washington football team? Was it the Cowboy game? Because it looked like the Cowboys were going to pull it out. And once again, the referees took it away. Was that the proper call? A lot of offensive pass interference. It's a shame that controls the game, but Cowboys nearly pulled it out, but the Rams get a win. Was that your biggest surprise?
No, I gotta join Rick on the Jags being the biggest surprise. They're supposed to be rebuilding another year. They got rid of a ton of players. So I don't know if it was as big of a surprise that Minshew played decent and well, as much as it was a big letdown for the Colts to not do as well. They picked up some defensive players. Their offensive line was supposed to be the best in the league. Rivers is supposed to, have some new life with his old offensive coordinator. And Rivers looked more of the same, and the Colts looked a little bit not so good. And so, I think really the Colts part of that story is the biggest surprise for me.
I know it's one game, but do you think there is concern with the Phillip Rivers? Should there be concern? I get it, the one game thing with the Bucs, but what about the Colts? Because, here's a quarterback that did have a tendency of throwing interceptions. He did it yesterday. So do you think, guys, that Colts fans should be concerned about Phillip Rivers going forward?
Well, I mean, who else do they have?
It's the same thing. It's one game, new team. These guys haven't played together. Talk in week 3 or 4. After that, then you can start to, if this continues, then you have something to talk about. But I can tell you this: if I was the Carolina Panthers right now, I'd be going, "Oh crap!" I mean, I got to deal with this next week.
Yeah.
I mean that they talk about catching a team at the wrong time. I mean that was a wake up call. This team, I think, maybe they felt like they signed a Super Bowl when it came to signing Brady, and now they realize, oh, We have to actually play. So I think that let's see what happens. But I'm betting teams like Carolina are not happy right now with what's in front of them, and the Buccaneers. And I'll bet the Colts. You're going to see a different Colts team next week.
The way they played, are you shocked by the Cleveland Browns? I get it's the Ravens, but man, that was pitiful.
It's the Browns.
Pitiful.
You've heard me say it. It's the Browns.
Yeah.
Are the Ravens, the way they played yesterday, and again, I know it's one game, are they the best team in the NFL in your guys' opinion?
I don't think so. I think the Browns just are sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a group of teams that are really good and a group of teams that aren't so good. You had two of them ran into each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
think the Patriots did really well, but I think the Dolphins took a step back. If anything, I really do. The Dolphins weren't as good as they were last year, especially against the Patriots. And there's going to be a lot of talk about how the Patriots won and the Bucs didn't. But wait till this week when they play Seattle. I think they're going to have a real different tune at the end of that game.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson, 4 touchdowns. He starts off the game 9 for 9. I mean, just absolutely throwing it against the Falcons. Once again, to me, it's not a surprise. The Falcons defense, we talk about all the offensive weapons, but that defense is just awful. And Dan Quinn, it's crazy because he comes from Seattle, and it seems like they're turning the corner, guys, and then they have a performance like this. Again, it's Russell Wilson. It's one game, but it was not good. No.
Well, I'm hearing that I hear the news here. I live in Atlanta.
Yep.
And I will tell you, I watched the game. The defensive line for the Falcons looked pretty good, but the defensive backs, I don't even, everything everybody says about the Buccaneers defensive backs. Yeah, that's Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something. I mean, you want a game that'll help you help your wide receivers show up, help get a quarterback back on track. That's the team.
Well, they're not good. I mean, they got rid of Trufant, and not that he was good in the first place, but he's better than what they got. They got a bunch of unproven guys there, Frank.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of where real good coaching takes place because you're going to have some teams who didn't play as well. I think the Bucs were one of them because they didn't have a bunch of preseason or scrimmages. And I think you're going to see the corrections made, especially right away this Sunday. And then you're going to have teams that are just more of the same, and that's really going to be a big spotlight on, or a hot seat, I should say, on the coaching, because you should be able to correct some of these things because there wasn't a preseason and now you got one game under your belt. And if it's more of the same, that points to the coaching all day, every day.
Can I clarify something that Al Keck brought up? He brought up about this coaching staff and not being good with adjustments. I want to be maybe a little more specific. I'll partly agree with him and say that this coaching staff does not seem to be good with in-game adjustments, but this coaching staff seems to be phenomenal with putting a team together over the season. They made a lot of changes last year, and as the team progressed, the team got better and better and better. And I think you're going to see that same thing this year. You're going to see players they got rid of Vernon Hargraves. They let him start and ended up, he was gone, and everybody said, "Oh no, who are you going to put in behind him?" Well, the same thing can happen with Donovan Smith. Let's just wait and see what happens. I think your tight ends are going to start to block better. I think you're going to start to see the team be a little more cohesive. They've now gotten punched in the face and know that they don't want to feel that again. So you're going to see a different team come out.
Yeah, and they had the opportunity versus the Panthers. We talked about they gave up 30 points or over 30 points against the Raiders, so they can be thrown upon. But they also have weapons themselves, namely a Christian McCaffrey. Is that your biggest concern here, Frank, is a McCaffrey versus this Bucs defense? Even though as dangerous as he was last year, the Bucs really kept him in check.
I mean, yeah, we have a history of keeping them in check, and that's really their only weapon. And, I think the Bucs kept Michael Thomas in check, but they weren't able to obviously keep Alvin Kamara in check. So when it comes to 2 or 3 weapons, that's going to be an issue sometimes. But these guys only really have one, and we historically have kept them in check. So I'm not really too concerned. I think there was a lot of bright spots in the Bucs defense Sunday. I mean, we held the Saints in third quarter through, I think, only 6 yards. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, obviously turnovers and other things, field position really hurt us a lot. But I think the Bucs have a solid defense. Again, we played a playoff team. We played a 13-win team. Our first game, no preseason. I know it sounds like excuses, but it's the truth. You know, you got a lot of new players. At the end of the day, we played a fairly good divisional team that's probably going to be in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, what do we expect? We expected not to have penalties or turnovers, but at the end of the day, did we really expect to go in there and just kill the Saints or even win the game? I thought we would have a close game or closer game, but at the end of the day, I've been saying from the get that this is going to be a great test game, and I'm kind of with Rick on this. I like the fact that we got punched in the face because I think that means we're going to be able to really have some humble pie here, turn it around, make the corrections, know where we're not good at, and see ourselves really step it up from here on out.
Yeah, and we're on with Frank Ammons of 320solar.com along with Mr. Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats. Open phone line, your 320 Solar hotline, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. The Donovan Smith situation, we talked about it last night. We were talking about it tonight. I mean, I don't know where to go. I want to believe that the effort, because the coach called him out today, Frank, saying that this is one of his poorest efforts. I mean, this guy next week, is he going to come out and have a better effort, or are we going to be talking about Smith once again basically being blown up by defensive ends and possibly blitzing linebackers?
I think he has to. I mean, 2 games in a row where he's, you know, letting his guy get past him and going back to old bad techniques. I mean, I kind of feel like he's going to step it up and make the corrections. At the end of the day, like Rick said, these guys are not afraid to cut players in the middle of a season. So, you know, Donovan Smith for $14.5 million has got to step it up. He's got to protect Brady. He's got to do better in the run. At the end of the day, he played a poor game. I mean, the rookie played better than he did. So, and yeah, in my opinion, he had a harder task. So you got to step it up, man. You got to do what you got to do and what you're paid to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Rick, where you go with this situation, because once again, you have a lot of money invested. I just wonder how many games until basically they say, you know what, we're going to go in a different direction. But
well, it's the last year of his contract, correct?
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's his year where he doesn't. Next year, he won't have any guaranteed money. So.
Right. I think I would say if he has another game as bad as this one, it will that the next game would be his last game on the Buccaneers.
Yikes.
I think they would go get somebody who you can find someone else to fail. That's easy. So I mean, it's not hard to find somebody to fail.
Right.
So I think you eat the money. You say that's fine. Let's go get somebody that has some sort of a chance to do well, because obviously this guy is not going to do well.
Yeah. All right, Frank, go ahead and promote once again 320solar.com, please.
Yeah, guys, if you guys want to eliminate your electric bill, it's real simple. You can do it for zero out of pocket, and you can get signed up for solar, installed, and start using your own power that's created from the solar panels on your roof, and you can start seeing the savings from your electric bill right away. Most people save $1,000 to $1,500 a year. Add that up over the years you're going to stay at the home. Wouldn't you rather put money back in your pocket versus the electric company? The electric companies obviously need to power your house. I need power, you need power, but wouldn't it be better to save money and put it back into your pocket and help value your property better? And you can do that with solar. So if you sign up with us, you can go zero out of pocket, and you can do that with no payments until January 2022, and you can do that on our website at 320solar.com.
All right, there you go, Frank Ammons. Thanks a lot for coming on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right, boss?
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
Have a great one, Frank.
There you go, Frank. All right, good stuff. So let's go back out to Mr. Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats. In fact, let's go out to the webheads, and we'll wrap this puppy up. A very passionate show, if you will. One I think that a lot of people will say, wow, I never seen him go off like that. But
I haven't. I was kind of glad I was coming on later. I was like, I'm a little scared.
Well, it happens sometimes. Don't be fooled. I can be a good guy, a nice guy, but there's times where gotta put the hammer down.
Red face this time wasn't from the sunburn.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly right. Matt Rule has proven he can build a roster, but you can't hide your defensive deficiencies in the NFL. Coaching and talent gap is too minimal. Excuse me. Hump with the Hall. Yo, says Carlton Cook. Johnny Dean. Interconference scrimmages are far more important than preseason.
I agree.
B-Fam. Johnny. Dean. Spider. Thank you very much, Carlton. Appreciate you. Adam Humphries having a good game. The Bucs did come into the Saints game with last year's game plan, poor special teams, penalties, and interceptions. Baker Mayfield is the biggest surprise from yesterday of how bad he looked. I know who wasn't a surprise. The Texans. They weren't. That was expected. Tristan says Marlon Mack with a torn Achilles for the Colts. So a blow to them. It looks like Jonathan Taylor is going to get the starting nod along with Hines there. Ron Rivera did a hell of a job coaching yesterday, and that defense is really, really good. You have Chase Young and Sweat and Allen. They're two big hosses from Alabama, and then you add Sweat, and then you add Chase Young. I mean, the future's bright for the Washington football team. As crazy as that sounds, because it has been a unbelievably terrible offseason for the Washington football team. Talent-wise, defensively, they're pretty good. And then to cut Adrian Peterson and for him to run 93 yards for the Lions, and then the Lions lose.
Oh, that was such a joke.
A big lead
Such
to
a joke.
Trubisky. Where has this been all my life, Bears fans? Laugh out loud, Rick Hughes. Dylan says, remember 2 years ago when we beat New Orleans and the Eagles and then we're 2-0, and then remember what happened. No one is crowned in week 1 or 2 or even 6 for that matter. Let it play out. Dylan, good stuff. And for all those who love to overreact on Overreaction Monday. So, Rick Hughes, go ahead and promote yourself, your show. I know you had it last night. Good show. Didn't get a chance to see it all, but from what I saw, it's definitely from the cheap seats. So go ahead and promote it.
All right. Just Sunday nights, 9 o'clock to 11. It's a good time talking football. This is not high-minded. I'm not the expert. I'm not the analyst. That's not me. I love to talk football with you guys. I have a passion for the Buccaneers and a passion for this game. And I mean, when I say this is something, I can't wait till Sunday night again. I just can't wait until Sunday night again. And this is something, please come and join and just watch and see the good time we can have. If you're ready, when you show up, be ready and let's talk.
And let's talk. And if you don't talk, right, then what happens to you?
You walk the plank. You're out of here.
Johnny Dean last night. Good stuff. Let me read this comment here and I'll get you out of here. Bulls adjusted with pressure in the second half. The offense came out attacking the edge with screen passes, but the pick six and muffed kickoff didn't allow for the offense.
Yeah, that's absolutely that's correct.
It's good.
That is correct. And let me say one more thing, Peter. I wanted to bring this up just on my way out the door. Who told you about those Cardinals? Who told you about those Cardinals?
I'll give you that because I tell you right now, DeAndre Hopkins, that was a surprise yesterday. Kyler Murray playing well and the defense stepping up. And now there could be concern with the San Francisco 49ers and Greg Kittle, especially signing that extension. There could be a knee injury. No telling how long it's going to be. We'll find out here in the next couple days. Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats. Thanks a lot for joining me here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Have a great night. Calm down. Calm down. Relax. Go listen to some like I don't know, some pan flute or something, and have a nice night. Relax. Chill out. Have a glass of wine. It'll all be good.
All right.
Have a good night, man.
We'll do it, my friend. Thanks a lot for coming on the Evolution. All right.
Thank you.
All right. There you go. Good stuff there from Rick Hughes. I'm calm. I'm just passionate. I am ready for football season. I've been ready for football season for the last 4 to 5 months, and we'll be ready for you on Sunday when the Bucs face the Carolina Panthers live from the Deck Bar and Grill with your pre-half and post-game editions of the Sports Web. We'll be giving you our commentary, trying to break down the game, give you the best matchups, also get your calls, get your text messages. If you come out there, giving some swag away, giveaways, great food, great service. It's the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. So join us there. Game is 1 o'clock on Sunday, so it's kind of nice. It's early. We'll get out of there. Good time, but again, just a great time. Cedric and everybody there, Dean, they do just a tremendous job of accommodating us here on Bucs Report and the Sports Web. So without further ado, it's early on Tuesday morning. We've got all that Saints business out of our system. It's on to the Carolina Panthers. They're going to face a Panther team that's desperate for a win, but you know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also desperate for a win because nobody wants to start out 0-2, and nobody wants to miss the evolution of Sports Talk Television powered by 320solar.com early on this Tuesday morning. Do 3 things for me, and you know that I live by this, right? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, and I love you all. Keep on coming back on Bucs Report on Wednesday night at 9 o'clock for the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Calm down. Everything will be all right because I say so. See you later. You're now in the Sports Web, a sports talk show for the hardcore fan. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.